complete college basketball's greatest rebound and rebuild with a championship.
If you're going to war and I'm coaching, I'm taking these guys.
Baylor, kings of college basketball, #1 in the land, and the trophy is coming to Waco.
Baylor, one of the great turnarounds in college athletics history, national champions in year 18 for Scott Drew.
Our fans that have been with us for the lean years, the good years, and our administration, President Livingstone, Mac Rhodes, they all deserve this. The city of Waco deserves this. Hey, Texas, we got a national championship too. The state deserves it.
Did I stutter?
He has time, launches it to the end zone. Touchdown! Terrence Williams!
But they are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
The 2011 winner of the Heisman Trophy is Robert Griffin III, RG3!
Welcome to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio.
Langoliers, base hit to center, and the Baylor Bears win their first Big 12 tournament championship.
Their fat little girlfriends are telling them what they want to hear, which is how great you are.
I'm a man. I'm 40.
Call us on the Impact Health Labs caller line at 254-339-1122.
Hello? You play to win the game.
Yep, just ready for OU.
You can't handle the truth.
Here's Drake Toll.
Welcome into the Petty Clinic Low T Bears Den. Happy Tuesday, everybody. It is time to have the talk. The college football playoff on the cusp of expansion. And look, if there's one thing that's so cliche, so overused in sports talk radio, it's the conversation on whether or not the college football playoff should expand. But we're all resident experts, and today it's applicable because news has come out that it looks like the college football playoff will take a turn toward a 12-team format. Drake Toll, J.D., PicKell, Armstrong, Sims, Marquise Cooley, Andrew Robertson, and Jack McKenzie. Happy Tuesday.
Everybody take a deep breath, because whatever happens in this next hour, we all have to remember we're all still dear friends. We all care about each other very much, no matter what our differing opinions are on this playoff. Because I've seen the playoff divide families, divide marriages. So we're all going to be okay in this next hour as we discuss this.
Looking across college athletics before we get into that, how about another hire from Nikki Collin? All-star assistant Marquette's Tony Green is coming to Waco to be an assistant on that staff. 27 years of experience. Had the #1 recruiting class in the nation at Ole Miss once upon a time. Big hire there, Landon Green.
Yeah, sounds like he's a great recruiter. Obviously, I don't know a ton about him, but from what we're hearing, a guy can recruit, which is the name of the game when it comes to college sports. So big pickup for the Bears and big pickup for Nikki Collin as she builds that all-star staff out a little bit.
Yeah, she lands another assistant. Still no word on Bill Brock, and I guess Satia Messer, unless I'm out of the loop. Are you out of the loop?
I'm way out of the loop. I never was in the loop. They have the loop over here, and then I'm just hanging out somewhere around the corner. But, yeah.
How about
no news?
Outside of that, on the diamond, Andy Thomas finally getting some recognition he deserves. He's been named one of the 3 finalists for the Buster Posey Collegiate Catcher of the Year award. So AT getting some love.
A lot of postseason love for AT. Good for him. Good for the Baylor brand, too, as they continue to build like that national relevance. Can help with recruiting down the road. Say, hey, you want to come here and play at Baylor? We got a guy that won the Buster Posey Award. Big deal. Big deal if he wins that, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I mean, you got a couple of guys, one from Louisville, one from Florida State, that are vying for that. I mean, Baylor baseball missing the postseason this year. Is it interesting to you that a guy on a team that maybe didn't have the success that Baylor was looking for is on one of those national postseason award lists?
Sure. I think some of those postseason awards that are more position specific, I think college sports gets it right in that arena, and that's that, like, if you do well at your position, you're usually up for the postseason awards. It's not so much like the Heisman or the National Player of the Year in basketball. Like, that's usually the best player on the best team. I mean, or we've seen that. I guess not always the best player on the best team, a la Cade Cunningham, but we've seen more of that, I think, over the course of the years. But position specific, I think they got it right.
Outside of that, today, breaking news this morning, actually, University of Arkansas and track legend John McDonnell has passed away. McDonnell is the greatest track coach of all time and one of the innovators of the sport who came, and we'll actually talk to Todd Harbour today, who is the head coach of the Baylor track and field team. Unbelievable unbelievable career. I think he's Irish. John McDonnell was he's a legend, passes away today. I'm looking at some of his 82 years old. I think he won like 40. So here he is, 36-year Hall of Fame career at the university. Established legacy success, producing 40 NCAA championships, 6 national triple crowns, 12 consecutive NCAA indoor titles from 1984 to 1995.
Wow.
So it leaves a huge wake of success behind him.
Yeah, I mean, how much of a legend is he in the state of Arkansas? I would imagine someone like that with the longevity of his career and the success of his career. I mean, is he just folklore in the state of Arkansas?
I wouldn't say in the state of Arkansas. I'd say just track in general. Very much, you cannot think the full scope history of collegiate track without thinking guys like Clyde Hart or John McDonnell. And McDonnell's at the forefront of why track is what it is, or is as big as it is at the collegiate game. Guys like that. On top of that, I'm reading some of the other numbers. 40 NCAA championships, 19 won indoor, 11 cross country, 10 outdoor. So 30 times in his career, he had National Coach of the Year honors given to him. 49 times he was the Conference Coach of the Year in one of those sports.
Wow.
He's from County Mayo, Ireland. Came over from County Mayo, Ireland. 83 conference titles, 34 consecutive conference championships in cross country, 27 in indoor, 22 in outdoor track. Even in the move to the SEC, he won 46 SEC championships.
That's so many. Like any coach that would just give a kidney to have one conference title. You said he has 83.
Yeah.
That is absurd. That's got to be a big mantle to fit 83 of those on your mantle. That's a lot.
You have a lot of fingers.
You got to have a lot of fingers. I mean, you got to probably get a whole moving truck to get those around.
That's a lot of rings.
Yeah, he'll definitely be missed, not just by the sports world, but I think by everybody in the Arkansas community as well.
Yeah, 20 Triple Crowns as well. So John McDonnell passed away this morning, the greatest to ever do it on the track. So with that, a couple other things breaking here. We had Nick Saban. The news came out yesterday that Nick Saban will be his contract will be extended for another couple of years through 2028. So, I mean, I don't think the Alabama train, as long as Nick Saban is there, is slowing down at all.
Yeah, I think he probably is. I mean, he really is the cheat code in college football, right? Wherever he goes, he wins, especially in the SEC with how well he recruits, everything he's built at Bama. I think this is probably the right move for him as well as Alabama. Like, I don't think there's anywhere that you want to go if you're Nick Saban. You've tried the pros, been there, done that, wasn't really for him. I mean, why would you leave a program like Alabama after you've built it out so much to just being an absolute self-sustaining powerhouse? Good for him, good for Alabama, makes a lot of sense. Also, home and home with Oklahoma State.
Home and home, Oklahoma State.
2027, 2028.
Yeah, so he's going to end his career with that home. And man, if you're Oklahoma State Bob or Mike Gundy, you're probably like, gosh dang it.
Yeah, right.
2 years, man. All we had to do was bump that back 2 years. In college baseball yesterday, a couple of teams punched their tickets. Almost everybody has their ticket to the Super Regionals. Right now, you got a game on the TV, Virginia and Old Dominion. Virginia was up 2-1. Old Dominion has tied it in the top of the 8th. It is 2-2. That game began at 8 o'clock our time, 9 o'clock local time. So they started square. They squared off early this morning. Dallas Baptist won the TCU Regional. They marched through, and that's that one spot left to fill. Arkansas yesterday, I don't know if you saw that, down 2-0, then down 2-1, then 2-2, then 3-2, then a 3-run bomb to blow it wide open.
Got her done. I'm stuck on that start time. 9 a.m. start time.
9 a.m. on the East Coast.
I mean, what time is your pregame meal? Like 7?
What time do you wake up? What time do you get at the stadium?
Yeah, like 6.
Yeah.
That's an early start. But to your point about Arkansas, good to see them get out of the regional. I think that would have been disappointing for all of college baseball fans. Like for someone who I think, like myself included, is still like figuring out more about college baseball as we're getting into this tournament, we would have been robbed of seeing a team like Arkansas. So I'm glad that we get to see them and see what they're going to do here in the later rounds of this tournament.
Yeah, other big news, South Florida has punched their ticket to a Super Regional. They'll play Texas in Austin in the Supers. South Florida, a 4 seed in the Florida Regional, so that's big for one of the little guys. Ole Miss, Arizona, Dallas Baptist likely taking over. They will take on either the winner of or either Old Dominion or Virginia. And you got Tennessee and LSU. They're going to square off. That's going to be interesting as LSU, they lost their first game of the regional, came back and won their next 4 to win their regional.
Got to get hot at the right time, huh? Texas, too. They were rolling. They won their region by a score of 33-5. Yeah. Another region was bad, like you said, but still.
So bad.
33 runs to 5. In soccer, that's like 4-0.
Yeah.
That's
worse.
That's a blowout.
That's 5-0.
That's unbelievable.
That's nuts. That's unheard of. As looks like Old Dominion's going to score a couple more right here.
Okay.
And they're going to go up on Virginia. The score now is, oh my gosh, that guy just jumped over the catcher and he's out. 3-2. 3-2 Old Dominion going to the bottom of the 8th. A winner of that one moves on as well in the postseason. We've got a call here. Looks like T-Rex giving us a call today, and we're going to transition from baseball into T-Rex's call and into the conversation on college football playoff, starting with T-Rex. T-Rex, what's going on?
College football playoff. We're talking playoffs?
Talking playoff.
Playoffs?
Today's the day. So, T-Rex, I do want to preface this conversation by saying we're not pulling this out of our butts. I know a lot of people do that. Like
No, I've heard the story. I've seen the articles. Don't worry. I've seen the article.
Good. Because I despise the people that are like, hey, it's Monday.
I haven't actually read.
Let's talk playoffs because it's Monday. There's nothing else to talk about. Nope. It has come out that it looks like we're on the cusp of a 12-team playoff.
I think the most controversial part about this entire discussion is that it's like a 4-person team that gets to evaluate this process and then present it to the committee. I think that's where we screwed up. We keep sticking with 4s. We got 14 playoffs, 14 committees, or 4 people committees. I think we need to expand, how many people get an opinion, but that's neither here nor there. That's just me nitpicking. You know what? They can do whatever they want with the playoff. I don't even care because the only thing that matters is September 4th in San Marcos. We have to get to the playoff before Baylor people even care about the playoff. So we got to win a Big 12 first before we even discuss that. But I know it's a sports show. Y'all got to discuss it. You got to give the people what they want. But I'm worried about September 4th in San Marcos. Anyways, multiple team playoffs. I agree. Should be all Power 5 champions automatically in. The group of 5 auto bid kind of thing. We'll see how that works out. But I think all conference champions should get in. I don't care what conference you're in. I think seeding will matter with, obviously strength of schedule. Power 5 would have better seeds than group of 5, etc. But I think if you win your conference, you get in automatically, no matter who you play with.
How many losses, in your opinion, T-Rex, is too many losses for a team to get into the playoff?
I think 2 losses is too many, but if the system says you are the champion of your conference and you get in and you pull off winning with more than 1 loss, which can happen depending on the way the season works out, right? Then, hey, you got to play by the rules. You got to have a set, you have set rules and you can't, so I think if you're a 2-loss team in the current system, you shouldn't get in. I think strength of schedule has merit, but also I think we put too much into quote unquote strength of schedule because it's all interpreted. It's all biased. So I think in the current system, 2 losses is too many. But if we go to a system that says if you win your Power 5 conference, if you somehow have 3 losses, depending on how how your conference worked out, you won the conference, you got in. Now you're probably going to get blown out, but hey, you play by the rules. You got to play by the rules, man.
T-Rex, I'm looking right here, and one of the problems I have, would you go, if you're to make this decision, you're the committee, would you go to a format where it's a regular season conference champion or the conference champion or the conference championship winner? Because where I'm going with that, the ACC has the Atlantic and the Coastal. Say the Atlantic winner is Clemson. They're 11-1. Coastal winner is Georgia Tech. They're 8-4 on any given season. Unranked 8-4 Georgia Tech sneaks up on Clemson, beats them in the ACC championship game. Do you think that now 9-4 Georgia Tech deserves to be in the playoff over an at-large 10-2 Tennessee?
I think the issue is not every Power 5 conference as it sits has a conference regular season champion. So before we can have that argument, we have to make the playing field even. True. And that's a cop-out answer because I think there is no good answer to your question. But I think until we make every single conference that could potentially put somebody in the playoff mirror each other, at least in how the champions end, then we can't really have a fair conversation in that regard. So until the Big 12 actually, has 12 teams, talking to you, Bowlesley, idiot, I think it's a hard conversation to have. But if we're going to just throw all that out, I think you need to win the conference title game because if you win the regular season, you're obviously going to be in the conference title game. But if you get beat, then obviously you weren't the better team.
Yeah.
Is
Now,
12
you
not
make the
too
argument
many?
any given Sunday, any given Saturday, but I think, hey, you weren't the better team. But again, maybe you get in a large bid. And then that's where we start playing into all the other parts of it. Are there at large bids? And there's just too many moving parts to play what ifs right now.
Yeah. Well, T-Rex, let me give you
feels
our
like a lot.
Bear Games question of the day really quick before we get to Steven here on the line as well. T-Rex, 2-team national champion, no playoff. Thoughts?
Like the BCS era?
Yeah.
I think it doesn't work. I mean, it works. Obviously, we did it for how many every years. I don't like it because it is all driven by newspapers and the ratings and the polls, and it's up for interpretation. Where, would this team have beat this team? And I think that we need to go to a 64-team playoff. This is what it boils down to: 64-team playoff, like high school and every other division in college. 64-team playoff. We have how many bowls now? At least probably 40 bowls. I feel like 30 bowls. We can make every single round named after an existing bowl name and get the same bowl money. And because that's the only reason bowls exist, is because of money. It has nothing to do with giving these teams a chance in the playoff or to play in a bowl game. There's a reason that in the 70s Baylor didn't make that many bowl games, because there weren't that many teams that went to bowl games. We were good. We just weren't good enough in those terms. Every round of the playoffs can be a quote-unquote the Gator Bowl or the Weed Eater Bowl or the Rydell helmet that doesn't work as good as the Shutt Helmet Bowl. I don't know. You know what I mean? They can have the Scruffy Murphy's Bowl and still make it a playoff. 64 teams, make it fair. If Division II, if the FCS can do it, and Division II can do it, and Division III and NAIA and every high school in the nation can do it, and hell, if the NFL can do it, then I don't know why we can't have a true playoff.
Boom. Wow. Thanks for your call, T-Rex.
Sick Bears, up-tempo, never down.
I love it. That was the most fluent.
64 teams.
It's the most fluent point. That he just everything there was, he backed it up really well, actually.
He's thought about that, but also the NFL doesn't have a 64-team playoff. I understand what he means, like a true playoff, but 64 teams, then you're playing 18 games. Like, you play how many games to win the NCAA tournament? What? 6?
Oh. Yeah.
6, so you want to play your 12 regular season plus conference championship plus another 6. So I see where he's coming from. I'm not against the idea, but logistically, I think that's where you're going to run into just a lot of problems.
Yeah.
A lot of problems.
First guy that goes down and is like, hey, coach, I played 6 games 6 weeks in a row in a playoff format. I'm going to need a little break.
That's going to be tough.
I'm going to need a little break.
That's going to be tough.
Got Steven from Virginia on the caller line. Steven, what's going on?
Hey, guys. I'm really excited to talk about the playoff expansion potential with y'all today. I love T-Rex. T-Rex definitely had some points, but I disagree with most of them, unfortunately. Usually T-Rex and I are on the same page. And today I'm not with T-Rex on the same page today.
You there, Steven? Can you hear us?
So the first thing I want to say is that if the playoff is going to expand, I don't think it should expand where we're giving 6 at-large bids. Because what that immediately becomes is every conference gets an at-large, and then the SEC West.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It's just what's going to happen. They're going to find a way to put all the SEC teams in.
Yeah,
if you're gonna make the playoff.
Steven?
We're losing you, Big Steve.
I think we dropped. Hey, Steven, give us a call back. Some bad reception over from Virginia today. I think the point he was making, though, you get 6 at-large teams. Is 6 too many in the at-large?
I think it definitely is. And I think a lot of the people that want to see the playoff expanded are people that are more anti-SEC. They say the SEC is too much power. They get Alabama in every year. They get Georgia in every year. Well, if you want to expand the playoff, you're getting the same problem just on a bigger scale. You're getting 3 of those teams that are of the 6 at-large bids, SEC teams. For example, the model that we saw on Yahoo has Georgia, Florida, and A&M, all with at-large bids.
Yeah.
Florida was a 3-loss team a year ago before they played Oklahoma and got it handed to them. Now, the bowl game you can go back and forth about. They didn't have their full roster, whatever. But Florida at 3 losses should not be a playoff team. And that's the problem you're going to run into if you expand it any more than 6. 6, I see the merit for. even 8, I think we can have a conversation. 12 is way too big. You're going to have way too many teams, and way too many teams that have a regular season that's pretty mediocre and sneak in because of strength of schedule.
I don't think SEC teams are the only teams that would make it in. I think Baylor, when we went to overtime with OU in 2019, I think Baylor would have made it in to an 8-team playoff. So I think it's just whichever teams get ranked by the committee. Now, granted, will that mostly be SEC teams? Probably. But I think it would really benefit the entire national audience of college football if all 5 of the Power 5 conference got their champion in. That would really bring the Pac-12 back into relevance a little bit because they have been suffering out in that West Coast. When's the last time they had someone in the race in the playoff?
That would have been the second year when Washington made it.
Right. So a long time.
Been a minute. Or no, what I was saying, the very first year.
The third year you had Washington. The first year you had Oregon.
Oregon 2 years in a row.
You had Oregon.
Just the first year.
That was Oregon beat Florida State. That was Oregon Ohio State National Championship. And then Mariota. And then you have Bama, Clemson in 2015-16. Then you go 2016-17, and you're getting another Bama, Clemson. And then you got 2017-18, and guess who's right there? Bama and Clemson. I mean, it's just like this never-ending rotation of Alabama and Clemson.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, why some people, myself included, could make a case, and I will try to in a little bit after we get to some of these calls. We'll try to make a case for I mean, were there problems with BCS? Yes, but the college football playoff has killed bowl games, the pageantry of bowl games, and the meaning of bowl games.
We've been over this one.
We got Steven's back here. Let's see if we can hear you now. Steven, what's going on?
Hey, guys, have y'all got me? I think y'all had Armstrong's Minute running over us there for a bit.
Uh-oh. Loud and clear. We got you now.
Okay, so I wanted to say that I agree with T-Rex on most things, but today this is the day I choose to disagree. First, I am for playoff expansion. I am not for what I've heard, which is 12 and 6 automatic bids and 6 at large. Because it's not going to take long for it to be all the Power 5 conference winners, one group of 5, and the SEC West. Don't tempt them. There are 7 teams in the SEC West. They will do it.
Yeah.
3 and 6 SEC teams were invited to bowls. They will do it. They will do it.
Brands and money. The SEC brings in the most money.
And look, man, they may be better. They may make more money. But the rest of us don't want to watch that.
Yeah, quality. The quality of having a 4-loss SEC team and compared to a 2-loss Big 12 team, I think I'll be very frustrated with that.
Yeah.
I'm making a lot of excuses when I say that because I don't believe any of that. Do we really want to sit here and argue about how number 15 Iowa State, who makes the Big 12 tournament or championship game, doesn't get selected, and instead they pick 8-4 Auburn?
Yeah.
It's going to be tough.
I'm just not wishing that upon myself. I'm just not. So if they want to do a playoff that's 8 and pick 2 at larges, I'm fine with that because I know who it's going to be. But if you're going to, don't give them 6 at larges. If you're going to do 12, give it to the automatic 12 teams, or to give it to the 10 teams that make the Power 5 tournament, 1 group of 5 team, and 1 at large.
I got problems with that one because I think if you give it to the 10 teams in the Power 5 that make their way to their Power 5 championship, then you're asking for the Pac-12, a random, UCLA team that's down 1 year to make it to the playoff, or a Georgia Tech from the ACC Coastal, because it's not tough most years, there are at least 1 or 2 Power 5 conferences that have a bad conference championship game because one of the divisions sucks. So I'm not sure if you can give an auto bid to somebody who just won their division in the Power 5.
Okay, I hear that, but here's where I come from on that. That gets more teams in the mix.
Not quality teams, though. Now you're snubbing someone that probably deserves to be there.
Oh, but hold on.
I'm holding.
They're going to put somebody who doesn't deserve to be there anyway. Okay, that's what they continue to do. I mean, this thing started with all of us sitting on our couch watching TCU 6, Baylor 5.
Yeah.
This was never fair to begin with. So why don't we, I'm sure there's going to be a year if they actually took my advice, which they would never do. If there was a year where the Pac-12 is down and USC runs through it and goes undefeated and UCLA goes 8-4 and makes the Pac-12.
Yep.
UCLA would never make the playoff ever.
Right.
It's been the UCLA hasn't been that kind of competitive since like 2004 or 2005 even. So like all of a sudden you've expanded your fan base, the amount of people who are watching the game, the amount of people who have a stake in this. If you go 6-6, and then the 6 at larges are, just to name a few, LSU, Auburn, Ole Miss, Notre Dame,
Wisconsin,
USC, Wisconsin. Yes. Are we really expanding the viewership of this thing? These are all schools that have a stake in it anyway. And here was the point I was going to make that I don't agree with T-Rex on. I'm fine with a 2-team championship. Most years,
I am too.
Most years, there are 2 teams that are better than everyone else. We've done this 4-team playoff. Only once has a 4 seed gone through this thing and won it when it wasn't Alabama. Only once, man. The best 2 teams are always in it. Most of the year we know who the best 2 teams are. You can make an argument this year. You could say, well, Ohio State was probably the 3rd best team and they made it. Would we really have been disappointed with Clemson or Alabama as a championship game?
Well, with the way Ohio State played, I would have been, because Ohio State came up and boat raced Clemson. And so I think like that's the reason why you have to have 4 teams, in my opinion. But I'm with you. I mean, you have 2 teams every single year, and that's the problem. Like the playoff is working.
No, I don't think the playoff is working. And, I don't think we need to have 64 teams in it.
That's a lot.
If we put all 64 bowl teams in it, the same team is going to win. I hate to put it this way, but like it's a lot easier in basketball for UMBC to beat UVA, which only happened because UVA lost their best player the week before in the ACC tournament, than it is like who would be your 64 seed in a playoff? Like Akron? Akron's not going to go to Alabama because if we're having 64 of these, we're going to have to play some of them at home. So Akron's not going to Alabama, knocking out their quarterback, and then winning the game. Football is different.
Yeah, I agree. A similar argument can be made for the same thing on basketball side, and that's why why would you play the 1-16 and have 64? But I get how basketball is different. Steven, though, we got a couple callers here with you. We got Mike and Matt in DC. Bear Games question, Steven. If you had one option to go with here, how many teams?
I'd be good with 8. And I'd be good with 12, and I'd be good with maybe 16 if the first 12 of those are automatic bids. Like I said, I just kind of want more people to have a piece of this. And, if you're going to expand the playoffs, that's what you're telling us that you want to do, right? And if that's not what you want to do, just go back to 2 and let the rest of us play our meaningless bowl games.
Sweet. Steven, thanks for your call.
Later, guys.
See you, Steven.
I thought he just said he didn't want to have 6 at-large seeds. And then he says 12.
No, I think he does want to have more at-larges.
He said not because
wait,
he doesn't want to have the SEC.
I think he meant 12 automatics.
12 automatic bids?
Automatic bids.
How would you do that?
You would do like a 5 teams that win their conference.
Conference USA gets auto bid?
Yep.
And not 2 loss.
Or no, American,
Clemson?
not Conference USA, American. The American.
That's
Houston.
Okay, so that's 6. So then you have like 12 conferences.
I think he's saying
12
16 teams, 4 at large, 12 are automatic. Those 12 come from the 5 teams from the 12 teams that played in their conference championship games. Bring the AAC
That's
into.
That's getting crazy, though.
That is getting nuts.
You're going to put the MAC champion against Alabama.
Not MAC. It wouldn't be MAC. It would be.
You have 12 auto bids.
12 auto bids.
12 auto bids.
Yes.
6. There are Power 6 conferences.
Yes.
you would have those 6 champions of those, along with the 6 teams that lost their conference championship game.
Okay.
Interesting.
So no MAC team.
Interesting.
No MAC team. Then 4 at-larges.
I think any way you look at it, if you expand the playoff, you're giving smaller schools a better chance to get in the playoff. I think this is if you expand it to 8, Baylor has a better chance. If you expand it to 12, Baylor has a better chance. Like Baylor, the brand that Baylor has established has not really put us into the forefront of being those top 4 teams. You have to win the Big 12 pretty convincingly. If it's 8, I have a lot more faith that Baylor can actually make a college playoff. And I think there'd be more parity if these teams have to play more games.
Let's get to Matt in D.C. here, and then we got Mike right behind him. Matt, what's going on?
Oh, man, what a conversation today. Man, I knew this was going to be on fire. What we need to focus on is what's best for Baylor, okay?
Real? Okay, maybe.
What is best for Baylor when this playoff happens, okay? We don't need to be worrying about what other teams are doing, what are the SEC West, what Steven was talking about. Don't worry about the SEC West. What the SEC West has done for the last 100 years of football was build brands so strong that they can lose 2 games and get in. Baylor, TCU, we have failed to do that. For 100 years, we had a mediocre football. We didn't invest in our programs until very recently, and now we kind of have a brand, but we're still 100 years behind as far as branding. So they get the benefit of the doubt because, yes, if you expand to 16, there's going to be a lot of SEC West teams. You know why? Because people want to watch, and the brands are so big. I'm jealous of those brands. You know, I wish we had a national brand like Ohio State. We can get there, but that's neither here nor there. I liked how the BCS usually got the top 2 teams right.
Yeah.
And we do need to expand it those years. If you look back at the history, the top 2, those are usually the best teams. The computers worked. I really hope that we do go to 12 or 16 because if you get the 5 automatic bids, that means Baylor, what's best for us, has a chance every year. That means if we win the Big 12, if somehow a 2-loss or 3-loss Big 12 or Baylor gets into the championship game in Arlington, we beat an undefeated Oklahoma, we're in. We're in, baby. Who cares we're in? Because I need a pass. I need a pass to get there because they change it every year.
A 1-loss Big 12 champion usually gets in now. I mean, look at Oklahoma.
Right, and that's the good thing. Like we would have got in 2019, having to lose to Oklahoma if it was a 12-team playoff.
If they had a conference championship, they would have got in. Yeah, if they had a conference championship, but it was just the regular season.
And let us not forget, the Big 12 had the worst luck during the BCS eras about getting into the championship game. Like it was like 98 Kansas State. We lost in the Big 12 title game to A&M. They were going to get in. Oklahoma State had a chance to get in the BCS. They lost like the one loss. So it always bit us really bad. Now, if a 6-6 Georgia Tech team beats a undefeated Clemson and they get in, that's going to be awesome because then they'll see what has happened to us for like 20 years in the Big 12.
Yeah.
Because technically, all you got to win is your division games in those 2 division teams. If an Arkansas wins all their division games at 6-6 and they beat a Florida, they're in. They're in. Make the rules, set them, do that, and we all better be praying that they do this because in 5 years, 2 things are going to happen to Baylor. One, we're going to stay in the Big 12. And continue to have a chance to win a national title. Or if Oklahoma or Texas decides to lose, we're going to get left in the wilderness like TCU did and go talk to them what it's like being left out and watching great teams play better than you.
You mentioned
the money will go from $35 million a year to about $5 million a year because that's the drop. And we're going to be playing American Athletic Conference.
Yeah.
So we better be praying it happens.
You mentioned what's best for Baylor in this scenario. The best thing for Baylor is to go 11-1, win the Big 12, which Baylor hasn't done since 2014, since they've had a conference championship game. Like, if you win the Big 12 with 1 loss, you're in. Like, that's what's best for Baylor. It's not the system. It's Baylor. It's not the brand. It's Baylor. Ohio State's in because they go undefeated every year.
Right.
And win the Big Ten.
Washington made it. Right. I mean, if Washington can make this thing, I think Baylor and Washington have comparable athletic names and brands. And Baylor, again, we saw it. Baylor is R.J. Sneed away from a playoff. I think the problem for Baylor is that in the 4-team playoff currently, and where Baylor's football, the state of Big 12 football in general, the way the playoff is built, it's not built for a Big 12 team to win a playoff game. If you have a 12 or 8-team playoff, Baylor's got a better shot at winning one of those games. However, in that 4-team playoff, most of the time your Big 12 teams, your 3 or 4 seed playing in Alabama a Georgia, a Clemson, and Ohio State, and we've seen how that's gone with Oklahoma. Who's to say Baylor's going to fare better than Oklahoma has in these college football playoffs?
I don't understand why that's bad for the Big 12 or bad for Baylor. I mean, Oklahoma was
losing playoff games?
Oklahoma was a squib pick away from beating Georgia. Oklahoma should have beat Georgia. All you can ask is you line it up 11-11 playing the Rose Bowl. Like, that's not bad for your team. That's not bad for your
that's
brand.
probably Oklahoma's that is Oklahoma's best playoff year. The rest of them have just kind of been mostly a wash.
Yeah.
I mean, what needs to happen is what this expansion will do is keep Oklahoma and Texas happy to keep the conference together. Because if they leave, I mean, all bets are off. We're in the AAC, never getting a chance in, because if we're not going to get asked to join a conference. If they want to go independent, by giving an automatic bid to the Big 12, it keeps the conference together. TV money's good, and what's best for the conference, keeping Oklahoma and Texas happy, as much as I hate to say it, benefits Baylor because they decide the fate of our future. If they want to leave and the Big 12 breaks up, we're out. We're done. We're left in the wilderness. And no one's calling us to come join, No. I mean, it's the truth.
Right. The SEC is not calling Baylor, knocking down Baylor's door to join the conference. They already have a Baylor, and it's Vanderbilt from a university standpoint, not athletic programs, but money, comparable student body, etc. Matt, I want to know, when you think about the Big 12 as a whole, is it really quick? A couple quick questions here. We got Mike right behind you. When you think about the Big 12 full body of work, is the conference closer to disbanding wholly or adding 2 more teams? Which is Big 12 closer to?
Well, I remember when it was all hell was breaking loose back, back in 2010, where everyone hated each other. I think a lot now, and listening to Mac and I hate, the Bob Bosley. From what I hear, everything's good together because the money's so good right now. And if, had Texas been winning a little bit more, we would be, the conference proceed better. Maybe I think Texas always wanted to go independent and be a Notre Dame. They just don't have the brand to do it, and they can't win. I think Oklahoma's happy. I think we're closer to expansion. And as far as, if we can add, if we missed out on Louisville, I say add Cincinnati and somebody else out of the AAC or maybe 4 teams. But I don't want to get started on the expansion talk. But if we can get the automatic bid, that means we're happy, everyone's happy, and there's always a path for Baylor to get a chance to get in there. Now, we still got to get in there and win the game, but at least every year hey, you win the conference, you're in. You can't complain about getting left out.
Yeah. Matt and DC, this really, really quickly, too, before we get to our Bear Games question, I just want a quick blurb. Like I said, Mike, right behind you. Brands right now, from a sports standpoint, athletic brands, which is bigger, the brand of Baylor or the brand of TCU?
Baylor's brand is bigger right now. Baylor is the brand is much bigger than TCU. Just because fan base is bigger, we have a larger student population, and then just winning more. Football, I mean, it may be tied a little bit. But the only reason TCU is in because the Big 12 kind of broke up, and we needed the next best one up. And TCU did a hell of a job, investing in their program for 15 years. They had just come off a Rose Bowl win, and the timing was perfect. I can't say the same thing would happen for Baylor. If we would have to wait maybe 10 or 15 years for conference expansion and hope someone took us and then someone would have to leave. That's why what's most important is getting this auto bid for the conference so everybody's happy, we keep making money, and then for the next 20 years we got a chance to possibly get in the playoff, win a title.
And Matt, here's the last question, Bear Games question. Ideally, how many teams are in this playoff?
I've always liked the 8, get 5 automatic bids, and 3 at large. That's my favorite one. But hey, if you go to 12, that'd be great. But I always thought 8 with 5 auto bids would be good.
8,
I'm okay
locked
with that.
in.
I'm okay with that.
Hey, Matt and DC, thanks for your call.
Thank y'all.
See you.
Thanks, Matt.
Got Mike right here behind him. Hey, Mike, what's going on? Let's talk some playoff today.
Hey guys, how are y'all doing?
What's going on, Mike?
It's we're doing all right. I think I don't want to say we're running in circles yet. I think we got a lot of great points that have been brought to the table, but now we're gonna formulate those in the next 15 or 20 minutes or so.
Absolutely. Well, first I just want a quick shout out to both you guys and really your whole team. Y'all's show has become one of my favorite shows to listen to, and kudos to y'all, especially being so young. It is literally, y'all have created a dynamic, fun, interesting, scintillating show to listen to. Just love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. Okay, so let's get on with it.
Yeah, Mike, that means a lot.
Absolutely, you're welcome. Well, y'all have earned it. As far as the playoff goes, the biggest difference between the basketball playoff and the football playoff is, yes, they are intent on crowning a national champion, but the bigger component about the basketball playoff is they are trying to include as many of these small conferences and small schools as they possibly can to, keep interest high. You can't afford to do that in football because, first off, the injuries would be way too high by adding all of those games.
Yeah. People will die. People will die.
They really will. I mean, there's just literally no point in that. The injuries would be way too high, and schools wouldn't be a fan of it. So you cannot possibly have a 64-team playoff. It'd be just because of the nature of the sport. And so the purpose of the football playoff merely is to crown the national champion, and it just can't be any more than that. Now, I am going to speak a little bit out of both sides of my mouth. I do think in order to crown the right national champion, you do have to include other conferences, and every conference has to have a chance, which is why I feel like you've got to give every conference an automatic bid, and however they want to choose their champion, I don't care, and then a group of 5, an automatic bid, even though I think they'll never actually be crowned champion. Because the problem right now is when you only have a 14 playoff, all the best recruits know, like, well, heck, if I don't go to either Clemson, Bama, or Ohio State, I may or may not ever make the playoffs during my tenure in college. I've only got probably 3 years really to play. And so by giving other conferences an automatic berth, you actually flatten the recruiting across better other conferences and actually make the sport more competitive. The problem with the playoff right now is they have created basically a 3, and you can maybe argue 4 teams if you throw in Oklahoma, maybe 3 or 4 schools that the top recruits know, like, well, man, if I ever want to go to the playoff, I got to go to one of these other 2 places. And so it honestly, it hurts the rest of the sport because, honestly, I'm kind of sick of seeing Bama and Clemson all the time. I'm kind of ill of it. I'd rather see some other, schools in there and give me something else to cheer for. So I really do think you've got to flatten it out a little bit, and it'll flatten out recruiting, and it'll help the sport immensely.
Here, Mike, let me ask you this question. Do you think there's been an instance in which the wrong national champion has been crowned? Not a loaded question.
No, I actually don't think so. I think the right teams, because of the playoff. Now, I do think there were some times during the BCS that some proper teams got left out.
Yeah.
But I feel like so far we've crowned the right one. So far.
Yeah, I would agree. And that's why I think I fall more on the side of when we start talking about college football as a product, I think we're sort of getting into dangerous waters. Because if the goal is to crown the national champion, I hear what you're saying about flattening recruiting and having all of the teams included that need to be included. But if the goal is to crown the national champion and the playoff is working so far, I think we're tampering with it to appease people that aren't necessarily as much of importance as I think we're making them, if that makes sense. I mean, television is kind of what we're indebted to here. I get that. I get there's a money tree that we're just going to have to pay off at a certain point. But if we're really about crowning a national champ and the right team's winning it, then let's keep this thing rolling. You want to beat Bama, beat Clemson, then the schools should recruit better. The schools should pay their coaches better. The Pac-12 whines because they're not in the dance every year. Well, the Pac-12 pays their coaches the least per average of all the Power 5 conferences. So Pac-12, you want to be in the dance, go get yourself a good coach, put a lot of money into the program, and pump something into it. So I'm kind of being extreme here, but all in all, I'm sort of agreeing with you in the sense that I do think the right champion's been crowned every year.
Mike, I don't want to play too much devil's advocate here, but I do want to come onto your side and say that in that case, I don't know if the goal and what in this conversation is necessarily to crown a national champion, but it's to add quality and a certain luster to the sport that's become stagnant. College football and the college football playoff has become stagnant, and that's why the argument's being had to add new teams. That's it. That's the base of why we're having this discussion. So I don't know if the goal overall in the college football playoff right now is to crown just crown a national champion. It's to keep from being stagnant, add pageantry, add even more pageantry, even more engagement into this sport. And I think that comes with, like Mike said, evening out the recruiting field, evening out the opportunity to win national championships.
Well, I 100% agree with you. And but the crowning the national champion is why you can't just expand it to like every conference champion of every conference, no matter whether you're Power 5 or whatever, and gets an automatic berth. You can't do that just because of the nature of the sport. But at the same time, in order to crown the right national champion, the playoff just simply has to have a limit. And I actually would advocate a playoff of not 8 teams and not 12 teams and not 16 teams. I would actually advocate a 10-team playoff.
Wow.
With the bottom 4 teams. Yeah, bottom 4 teams. Because, look, I don't want to see, let's just say, Alabama play team number 8. It's just going to be a slaughter, and it's not even going to be fun to watch. I wouldn't even want to watch it.
Yeah.
But if you had a 10-team playoff where the bottom 4 teams play each other for those, last 2 spots in an 8-team, that would for the 8-team bracket moving forward. Well, heck, those would be actually pretty good games to watch. A 9 and I don't know, 6 and what would it be like number 7 and number 10 and number 8, number 9 playing each other. Those are going to be competitive, and now they're going to get to play in, and now they get to play into the top, what now becomes the top 8 teams. That would be engaging football. It would not be engaging to watch Alabama beat the stuffing out of Coastal Carolina. I wouldn't want to watch that game.
Yeah.
It would be so dumb. But you put a Coastal Carolina against a, like whatever the number 9 team was this last year, well, daggum, they might come up and bite somebody and actually make it. And that would be fun football to watch.
Yeah, and then maybe they get hot.
You never know. So you get 5 automatic berths, 5 at-large berths, and you have a secondary rule that no conference gets more than 2 teams in the playoff. That prevents any more SEC bias than there already is. It gives other conferences a legit chance to put more than 1 team in. I think that would be fun, and I could get behind that in a hurry.
I love it. Well, hey, Mike, you answered our Bear Games question there, going 10-team playoff. Anything else you got for us, man? Thanks for your call today.
No, again, kudos to the show, man. It's one of my favorite shows to listen to.
I love it.
Thank
you,
in,
Mike. Thanks for listening.
You,
we can't do it without callers, listeners as well. Speaking of, one of the things he did mention, UCF. You talk about Coastal Carolina getting waxed by Bama. If you get like a UCF year where they could come up and sneak up on somebody. Tomorrow's show. Won't be live for tomorrow's show. They're coming in and filming the documentary.
Bada bing, bada boom.
Tomorrow, so won't be able to keep that rolling tomorrow. They're using 101 Elm Street to put a little doc together on tomorrow from 11 to 2. So no up-tempo tomorrow. With that, we'll hit a break, come back. We'll wrap up all this college football playoff conversation with a nice little bow. Thanks to Mike, Steve, and Matt in D.C., T-Rex, your calls and thoughts. I really liked Mike's call there at the very end to kind of tie it together. I think 10's a solid. He made a great argument for it, too. So I'll tell you what, we'll hit a break right here. Drake Toll, Armstrong Sims, Marquise Cooley, Jack McKenzie, Andrew Robertson. That's J.D. PicKell, and this is Up Tempo.
She has done it again. Nikki Cohen landed another all-star assistant by bringing Marquette's Tony Green on staff. Green has 27 years of experience in the collegiate game, with time spent at Langston University, Grambling State, Texas Southern, Toledo, and Ole Miss. Green's teams have reached the postseason 12 times, and he has coached over 30 all-conference selections, 6 All-Americans, and 5 Conference Players of the Year. He also brought in the #1 recruiting class in the SEC while at Ole Miss. Green comes along with his wife and niece and their 5 kids. On the diamond, Andy Thomas is getting the recognition he deserves. The Baylor catcher was named a finalist for the 2021 Buster Posey National Collegiate Catcher of the Year on Monday. Thomas is one of just 3 catchers in the nation to make the list. The final vote among the national committee will take place in 2 weeks during the College World Series. Each of the finalists will be brought to Wichita, Kansas for a banquet to announce the award's winner on July 1st. In tennis, a resounding 4 Bears have been given All-American honors by way of singles players Adrian Boitan and Matias Soto, while the doubles pairing of Konstantin Franzen and Sven Law have also been honored. Between singles and doubles, this is the 42nd combined time Baylor has an All-American on the squad. And Gonzaga Athletic Director Mike Roth said Monday that he will retire after 24 years at the university. Roth has spent a total of 34 years as a Bulldog and helped guide the athletic program to 73 postseason appearances. It's a shame he couldn't go out with a title. And in up-tempo news, we will be off the air tomorrow, filming for the men's basketball documentary. And Alabama has extended Nick Saban through 2028. I'm Armstrong Sims, and that's all the news that is news in college sports. This has been Armstrong's Minute on SicEm365 Radio's Up Tempo.
Pay over qualified buyer with $4,000 down to 2.9%. TTNL Extra. See deal for details.
Travel is back, and so are the savings at the Memorial Day Savings Event at Richard Carr. Save $5,900 on 2021 Buick Encore. Drive off in the affordable luxury of a Buick Encore for as little as $258 a month. Or vacation in the spacious comfort of a 3-row Buick Enclave and save $8,500. 100% credit approval is always our goal. It's the Memorial Day Savings Event going on now at Richard Carr.
At Richard Carr, we give you more.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be a part of the Waco community. We're a small family business right here in Central Texas, and our goal is to bring down the cost of healthcare while maintaining high quality. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important, and unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. That's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through the difficult time. We offer premium MRIs just like a hospital with state-of-the-art technology and specialists, but you'll pay less. Sometimes thousands of dollars less, whether you're using insurance or not. At Ideal MRI, we accept most insurance and there are no hidden costs, even offering financing if that's needed. Everything included in the price, and you'll not get something as a surprise in the mail later on. If you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. They'll know. You can schedule an appointment safely from home online in minutes at idealmri.com or give us a call, 833-IDEAL-MRI, idealmri.com.
At Marco's Pizza, get craveable pizza made the Italian way with dough made from scratch, an original sauce recipe, 3 fresh signature cheeses, and premium toppings you love, served hot and safe. Right now, you can get unlimited medium one-topping pizzas for just $6.99 each. Why stop at just one? Order with your app or at marcos.com for curbside, carryout, or delivery today. Marco's, pizza lovers get it.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Cam Heathcott, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Cam Heathcott, covering Conroe and Houston, 936-756-7717 or cam.heathcott@edwardjones.com. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Boots add protection. Good boots help you climb better and move forward faster. And when your son or daughter steps into the boots of a U.S. Army officer, they also learn how to lead. In these boots, they'll gain more confidence with expert training in one of more than 150 occupational specialties. In these boots, they'll stand a little taller and lead a team with diverse backgrounds and areas of expertise to successfully accomplish whatever challenge comes next. In these boots, they'll earn respect with valuable experience from day one that will give them solid footing for success into the future. Highly qualified candidates who earn a spot on our team can receive comprehensive health care coverage, college tuition assistance, and a bonus of up to $40,000. See all the things your son or daughter can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Welcome back to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio. Call us on the Impact Health Labs caller line at 254-339-1122.
Sit down, Bob. I'm not happy, Bob. Not happy.
Now, back to the Bears Den with Drake Toll and J.D. PicKell for the Blonde Boys Power Hour.
Welcome back into the Petty Clinic Low T Bears Den. Drake Toll alongside J.D. PicKell, Armstrong, Sims, Marquise Cooley, Jack McKenzie, and Andrew Robertson.
Boom.
Andrew Robertson. Yeah, Andrew Robertson was vibing on that one. Enjoying a little.
He's feeling it.
He's enjoying the pageantry that is up tempo.
Yes, sir.
I was in the lab right now. I'm trying to get some stuff posted.
You're just cooking up in the stew over there?
I'm just cooking it up. Yeah, exactly.
Aisha Curry?
Aisha Curry. And in the stew, Aisha Curry.
Yeah?
Allegedly.
Wait,
Allegedly.
Yeah, speak for you.
Yeah.
I'm just over here cooking.
Oh, okay.
Let's go.
Okay. College football playoff, how many teams?
Dude, 4, like, it's working. Why are we this is so irrational.
It's
This is so
stagnant.
irrational. Okay, so whose fault is that? Bama and Clemson's fault for winning so many games, for winning? That's their fault they're winning.
Man.
It's their fault they're winning. It's their fault that they keep winning games. Why is it bad for the game that
Powerhouses
Nick Saban,
are bad for the game.
No. I think this is just so wrong. We're talking about it as a product. Like, it's still a college sport where you want to have the best teams win. Like, also college football is cyclical. So when USC was winning all the championships a couple years ago, no one was like, let's change the BCS because USC is too good. Like, we shouldn't penalize teams because they're too good and there's not enough parity for Joe Schmo, who likes to see Texas Tech have a couple games.
Don't you call out Joe Schmo on this show?
Joe Schmo can get the smoke, baby. I don't care about Joe Schmo.
Don't you dare call out Joe Schmo on this show.
Come get the smoke. Like,
if you're watching, you call us right now, Joe Schmo.
Dude, we're just caring about the wrong things with this playoff conversation.
I don't know. I love the fact that I love what Mike said, that like so you have 4 schools in the country if you're a recruit that you're going to go to the playoffs.
Yeah, and whose fault is that? Everyone else who's not recruiting those kids. Like, there's no rule.
It's over now. It's over now.
Well, it's not over. UCF is hosting a 5-star next week.
Yeah, because they're UCF, man.
They're not a powerhouse. They're not playing for playoffs.
Yeah, they get 1 5-star. It's not going to take them to a playoff.
Okay, when you get a couple 5-stars, like, there's no rule that you can't recruit a highly rated kid if you're a Power 5, or excuse me, if you're a Group of 5 school.
Well,
if you're
at
not
this
one of those
rate,
top
that
4.
rule's coming.
What?
Yeah.
The rule is coming?
That rule's coming.
What
the way
rule?
the trajectory of the NCAA, the way the trajectory of the NCAA right now.
It's actually going the other way with the transfer portal. We're going to see so much parity.
Yeah, I don't know. I think, we've had the conversation. It kills bowl games, man. The playoff, I went to the Baylor Georgia game and it was horrendous. It was awful. The crowd was terrible. No one was there. There's no pageantry in it because it doesn't matter for anything, literally anything at all.
New Year's 6, it's good for your brand.
Yeah, it's good for your brand.
But it's like, is that what we're worried about? We're worried about bowl games, or worried about crowning the national champion?
Right. Who gives a flying rip about bowl games anymore? It's no one. It's effectively no one. I mean, they're kind of fun to watch. Yeah, Armstrong, what's up? You give a flying flip about bowl games? We got
it just
one.
Depends who you ask. Yeah, like the casual college football fan. Oh, Georgia and Baylor are playing. Yeah, I'll watch that. Like
BYU and
I'll
Army are playing TV. In the Idaho Potato Bowl. Armstrong's the guy.
I actually love that.
Yeah, I have seen some pretty good. Like the Cheez-It Bowl, was it last year? Georgia Southern kicked a field goal or something, like a 54-yarder.
To win it.
Yeah. There have been some nuts little bowl games.
Yeah, you're sleeping on the Duke's Mayo Bowl.
Like, more football is good. Duke's Mayo Bowl. Okay.
I mean, I watch that every year.
Really? Every year? It's a family tradition.
Well, it's been a thing for like 3 years, I think.
Yeah. Like, bowl games as a whole don't really matter that much to these companies. To those companies, maybe they matter. To a lot of these kids, they're like, it's fun to go play in a bowl game. For the casual fan, you're probably not going out of your way to watch the Red Box Bowl. Like, I understand that.
Hey, watch it. We got Joe Schmo's calling in, Joe Frazier. Hey, Joe, we got like all of 12 seconds, so just hit us really quick here.
All right, guys. With the bowl predictions, I say 10 teams total. Hear me out. Your 1 and 2 teams, they get buys. Give them a reason for being number 1 and number 2 in the country, and then your other 8 play it out, and then throw the 1 and 2 back in the mix later on. Use the upper bowls for all of those 10, 12 games, however many it may be, and you can still have your bowl. The companies can still get their write-offs. Everybody's happy. Drop the mic. I'm done.
Boom, making money. Hey, Joe, thanks for your call. I said I wanted Joe Schmo. We got something even better. Joe Frazier, the inventor of the
uppercut.
We got to do Dead or Alive here really quick, but we got Devil Bees on the phone. Devil Bees, I got all of 15 seconds right here. You got it real quick.
Hey, got Devil Bees on the phone. First time, long time, sponsored by Double R Burgers. You know the deal. You know who I am. My credentials speak for themselves.
Easy.
Guys,
easy money.
Listen, I just want to talk about the bowl system and how I think it should be a 25-team playoff in which Baylor is always number 1 and gets a bye until the national champions.
Oh, no! We dropped him.
He was making a good point, too.
We dropped him. Gosh, dang it. That reception out in the woods is just not. You getting some beaver nuggets over there? What do you got going on? Pork rinds? Pork rinds?
Ah.
Okay. Well, you were saying something. What was that?
I completely forgot.
Oh, sweet. Baylor Bigfoot, thanks for your call. Pleasure as always.
Double B's out, baby.
Dead or alive? Cue the happy music. Ba-dum-ba-dun-dun-dun-dun. Are these people dead or are they alive today? Claudio Abbado, classical conductor known for his time with the London Symphony Orchestra.
Ooh, alive.
Dead.
Dead. Would have been 87.
Dang.
Claudio Abbado.
But you were there.
Tough day to be Claudio.
87. I mean, you can't expect that man to be dead.
Bella Abzug, feminist leader and hat wearer.
Hat wearer's
alive.
You know, the hat wearers, but I mean, I think dead.
Hat wearer is definitely why they're dead.
101 years and dead.
Oh,
yeah, very
man.
tough day.
Dang it.
Scott Adams, cartoonist, creator of Dilbert.
Alive.
Dilbert. I don't know if I know Dilbert. Let's say dead. Actually, alive. Cartoons are like, I feel like a relative.
Dilbert?
Let's say
Dead or
alive.
Scott Adams? Hey, Rob.
Alive.
It's his birthday today. He's 64.
There you go, Dil.
Happy
There you
64th
go, Dil.
birthday to Scott Adams.
Boy, Dilbert.
Yeah, I was just giving it to
D.
you there, all right, Rob? Let's see. We got a couple more here. Mr. T, dead or alive?
Ooh, dead.
Tough
deal.
Cheese alive.
Here's Dilbert, by the way. Sorry, the music thing.
Music
Stop the
music cut. All attention on
There you
Dilbert.
go, Dilbert.
That's Dilbert.
Oh,
He's like a Simpson knockoff.
Mr. T,
Alive.
alive, 69. 69 years old.
There you go, Mr. T.
Nice. Maria Tallchief, prima ballerina of the New York City Ballet. She was in Swan Lake.
Alive.
Ooh, Swan Lake. Swan Lake, weird stuff happens with Swan Lake. I'm gonna say she's dead.
I've never heard anyone say Swan Lake and put the emphasis on Swan. Like you just
Swan
did.
Lake?
Swan Lake. You said Swan Lake. Everyone I've ever heard says Swan Lake.
Swan Lake. Yeah.
Isn't that weird? I don't know why I thought of that.
That's interesting though.
Dead.
Swan Lake,
94?
man.
Swan Lake.
Swan Lake.
No
is
one says
weird stuff.
Swan Lake.
Weird stuff happens with Swan Lake, man.
Swan Lake.
Weird stuff happens
Lake.
in Swan Lake.
Swan Lake.
Yo-Yo Ma. We got like two more.
Yo-Yo Ma is
Alive.
dead.
He's alive.
Is
for
he?
Sure.
Okay.
Who is Yo-Yo?
Let's find
He's
out.
a very famous
He's a cellist.
He's a rapper.
There it is.
He's alive.
Rapist.
65. Looks like Old Dominion scored, maybe? No, they didn't. That's a replay.
Yo-Yo Ma.
Rap
is-
artist.
Yo-Yo. You look up Yo-Yo Ma. He's a legend.
Yo-Yo Ma.
Nope.
What's up, Mom? Yo-Yo Ma.
Let's see if I can find one. Oh, Ish Kabibble. Ish Kabibble. We got two more here.
Ish
He's a
Kabibble.
cornet trumpet player.
Ooh,
If I could produce a
dead.
show like Yo-Yo Ma could play a cello, I wouldn't be here.
Dead.
Really?
Yeah.
Dang. Dude.
Ish Kabibble, dead or alive?
Ouch.
Dead.
Sorry.
I'd be like the best
Sorry,
producer
we're
in the
holding
world.
you back.
Yeah, Ish Kabibble's
No,
dead.
I'm holding me back.
Ish Kabibble's dead. Last one. Ahmed Tejan Kaba, president of Sierra Leone.
Not a real person. Dead.
Oh,
Wow.
joke's on you. He was real. Ahmad Tejan Kebab.
Alive.
Was real. Okay, dead.
Oh.
God.
There we go. Well,
that right?
Not there we go, but like,
He's dead.
not
Way to use
dead-
context
yeah.
clues.
Shoot.
Way to use context clues.
Oh man.
I'm Drake Toll. That's J.D. PicKell. We got Armstrong Sims, Andrew Robertson, Marquise Cooley, and Jack McKenzie. When we come back, Todd Harbor, the Baylor head track coach, joins the show today. Maybe he's got some thoughts on the college football playoff. I guess we'll see.
Yeah, we'll find out.
We'll be back after this break. This is Up Tempo.
She has done it again. Nikki Cohen landed another all-star assistant by bringing Marquette's Tony Green on staff. Green has 27 years of experience in the collegiate game, with time spent at Langston University, Grambling State, Texas Southern, Toledo, and Ole Miss. Green's teams have reached the postseason 12 times, and he has coached over 30 all-conference selections, 6 All-Americans, and 5 Conference Players of the Year. He also brought in the #1 recruiting class in the SEC while at Ole Miss. Green comes along with his wife and niece and their 5 kids. On the diamond, Andy Thomas is getting the recognition he deserves. The Baylor catcher was named a finalist for the 2021 Buster Posey National Collegiate Catcher of the Year on Monday. Thomas is one of just 3 catchers in the nation to make the list. The final vote among the national committee will take place in 2 weeks during the College World Series. Each of the finalists will be brought to Wichita, Kansas for a banquet to announce the award's winner on July 1st. In tennis, a resounding 4 Bears have been given All-American honors by way of singles players Adrian Boitan and Matias Soto, while the doubles pairing of Konstantin Franzen and Sven Law have also been honored. Between singles and doubles, this is the 42nd combined time Baylor has an All-American on the squad. And Gonzaga Athletic Director Mike Roth said Monday that he will retire after 24 years at the university. Roth has spent a total of 34 years as a Bulldog and helped guide the athletic program to 73 postseason appearances. It's a shame he couldn't go out with a title. And in up-tempo news, we will be off the air tomorrow, filming for the men's basketball documentary. And Alabama has extended Nick Saban through 2028. I'm Armstrong Sims, and that's all the news that is news in college sports. This has been Armstrong's Minute on SicEm365 Radio's Up-Tempo.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jewelry, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store and more. With so many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping for insurance, and I never know if I'm getting the policy that's right for me. Luckily, I met the team at the Niche Group Insurance Agency. With the Niche Group, you can go to one company and get access to coverage options from many insurance carriers, and you get to speak to a real person about your specific coverage needs. With the Niche Group, I know I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. If you need insurance, talk to the experts at the Niche Group at 1-800-258-8302.
It's time to fire up the grill, heat up the oven, or get that deep fryer going to enjoy the top quality products at Waco Custom Marketplace. Order 30-pound sacks of live crawfish by 6 on Wednesday. Pick up on Friday afternoon after 2 or Saturday. Enjoy the weekend. 30-pound sacks of live crawfish available right now for $4.25 a pound. Find all the crawfish boil ingredients you need, including red beef potatoes, sausage, corn cobettes, and Louisiana boil seasoning. Make your order for live crawfish by Wednesday at 6. Pick up on Friday after 2 or all day Saturday, and enjoy the weekend. Waco Custom Marketplace, your home for fresh baked kolache, cinnamon rolls every day. Butcher shop to cut your steaks the way you want. Fresh seafood, summer sausage, boudin, house cured and smoked bacon, spices, seasonings, soup mixes, and more, and weekly gift boxes for any occasion. Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
At Baylor University, students find their place to shine. They're faithful friends and inspirational leaders. They're championship teammates and independent thinkers. They're on the cutting edge of high tech and in the halls of history. If you want to make the world a brighter place, you can. And if you want to shine in your own way, you can. The spark you need is already inside you. Bring it to Baylor, where lights shine bright.
Don Humidor, your home with a 48-foot walk-in humidor with the elite cigar brands from around the world, including the #1 cigar of the year, Aging Room Cuatro Nicaragua. Plus, they have the great brands like Macanudo and Artur Fuente, Rocky Patel, Aston, and so much more. CBD, great for sore muscles, aches and pains, sleep, Vita Dreams, and anxiety, mild depression, general health and wellness. Their staff very knowledgeable on the subject. If anyone is curious about CBD, ask Carol and Ashley. Don Humidor in the Townwest Shopping Center off Valley Mills in Waco.
Welcome back to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio.
No capes. Do you remember Thunderhead? Tall, storm powers. Nice man. Good with kids.
Listen. Call us on the Impact Health Labs caller line at 254-339-1122.
Dyna guy, snag on takeoff. Splash down, sucked into a vortex. No capes.
Here's Drake Toll and Armstrong Sims.
Welcome back into the Petty Clinic Low T Bears Den. Happy Tuesday, everybody. College baseball going on, college softball with the World Series. We got sports across the board. Nikki Collin making a hire yesterday, football camps and recruiting. And I tell you what, we got one team competing with a whole lot of members in a national championship in Eugene, Oregon, and a lot going on still in Baylor athletics. And Coach Todd Harbour and his track program, one of the reasons why. Coach Harbour joins the show with us today. Coach, thanks for coming on.
Thanks, Drake. Thanks for having me, Drake.
Always a pleasure, Coach, and I know it's a big week for you guys kicking things off, but I first want to know, I mean, you're coming off of a regional setup and in College Station for you guys where you had a plethora of athletes that qualified for the national competition in Eugene, Oregon. What has this last couple of weeks been like for you guys as you've rounded out your outdoor season?
Well, we had a good showing down there at College Station, and it's just kind of getting them all ready. Track and field, we're an individual sport, and we approach it that way. So you have some that are coming off of injuries that you're trying to get back a little bit of shape. You're having some that have been very healthy, and you're trying to make sure they're rested up and freshened up a little bit. So it's very individual how you approach the last 2 weeks. But we've got a great group up here. They're ready to go, and I think our health is pretty good. We got a couple that we had to kind of nurse a little bit back after regionals, but I think we're in pretty good shape, and we start tomorrow with the men, but I think we're ready to have hopefully a good showing up here this weekend. It's an incredible facility, and we're very excited about being able to compete up here at Oregon.
Well, Coach, you've got a long week ahead of you going through this weekend with those athletes there in Eugene. And I'm reading down the list here of all the Baylor athletes that'll compete, like you said, starting tomorrow, going through the women on Saturday. For you, though, I'm reading here, you had mentioned to those, it's a talented young group. You got a younger core, players that may not have been on this scale yet that are competing for the first time in national championships. How do you handle it? Being in many yourself so far with athletes who haven't been there?
I think, again, your veterans, we've got a good group of veterans as well. We do have some young ones. This is their first time. But we've got a group of veterans that'll show them the way. And, these athletes have all been in major competitions all season long. So I don't think the stage will be too big for any of them. I believe they're all ready. A lot of the young ones are All-Americans already from the indoor season, or all Big 12 champions. So we got a good mix of veterans and young, and I think the combination of the two will be great. I said this facility is incredible. I'm actually going to be up here for the next 3 weeks because the trials start a week after. So I'm going to just stay here. We've got a good group that are going to be hopefully here ready to roll in another week or so for the Olympic trials. But it's an incredible venue. A little bit different from what it used to be like here at Eugene. My first trip here was in 1978, so 43 years ago. NCAA is my freshman year, so we've been here a few times. It's a great place. They love track and field here, and so I know our athletes are very excited about the chance to compete up here.
Well, Coach, for you being up there with this group of athletes, I'm looking up and down this list, and there are a couple of names that really just scream off the page for me that we've had on the show or talked about before. The first being Aaliyah Miller and what she's done not just this year for your program, but going a couple years back. How big of a staple is Aaliyah Miller, not just for the women's track program at Baylor, but now in the country, as she just seems to tear through everything she does?
Well, Leah's, you said she's a special young lady, and she's just been a joy for me to coach over the years, and I've known her a long time. Her coach used to babysit, her sister's coach used to babysit the boys, so we grew up in Waco together, so I had kind of an in the recruiting way back when she was a freshman in high school, and so watching her progress and develop over the years has been really a joy. It hasn't been easy, as she stated many times. She's had some bumps and had to persevere and fight, and that's what you hope that you teach your athletes and through our sport is how to fight, how to persevere. And so I think Aaliyah is very well has done that, and is an example to so many of just don't give up, keep fighting, keep knocking, and good things will happen. And so she's ready to roll. She's coming off the indoor national championship, and she's ready to run another one here. I think some great races ahead of her the next couple of days. So we're excited about her for sure.
Coach, you've also got an athlete, Nakira Nugent, that, I mean, what she's done as a freshman this season is unbelievable to me. Put in perspective for those that may not be familiar with the sport, how huge her performance has been for you guys this season.
Oh, it has been, Drake. She's a special young lady as well, and it's been another one of my joys this year is watching her mature. I told her the other day, I said, Kira, I'm very proud of you as an athlete, but I'm even more proud of how much you've grown this year as a person. She's grown, and watching her grow in her faith, as Aaliyah has been really neat. And Akira had some bumps this fall, homes, Jamaica, long way from home, COVID. It was tough. And watching her struggle, it was really tough this fall. And Coach Ben Dalton's done a great job with her, as Coach Ford, and worked together to get her to a good place. But, we knew coming in she was special talent. She broke the world youth under 20 record. So she was a talented young lady, but just having to endure what she had to go through with the COVID and all of that, and just watching her step up on the big stage indoor. She won the 60 hurdles indoor right before Aaliyah stepped on the track. And so those were 2 back-to-back national championships. So it was really pretty cool. My emotions were just, wow. They celebrated Kira's, and here's Aaliyah getting ready to run next event. So that was pretty special. But her 100 was amazing down there we knew she was that fast, but to watch her run 11:09 down there at College Station, she's one of the fastest hurdlers in the country, in the world, actually. And so to have that kind of speed and to be able to continue to develop as a hurdler, nothing but greatness is in front of her. And so she's just a special young lady, and special talent.
Well, both of those names have certainly been huge when it comes to Baylor track. And like I said, across the nation, when you talk to people about, hey, who are the competitors to watch out for, it has been Akira Nugent and Aaliyah Miller this season. Coach, on the men's side, Baylor 400-meter U. I mean, just what you and Clyde Hart and this program, it's always consistent. The 4x4 is going to be good. You just know it's going to be good. And now you got Howard Fields III for you guys. It has just been elite, at an elite level. What has he added on the men's side for your team?
It's been another journey with him, watching Howard develop. We call him Trey, but watching Howard develop over the years has been it's been a lot of fun. He's endured some injuries and battled through those, and to see him on this stage now, he was 47 low as a high school senior, and watching him develop has been really special. And he's ready. His hamstring tightened up a little bit in the race down there. We held him out of our 4x4, which led us to not running maybe quite as fast as we should have down there, but we got it through. Some of the other guys stepped up big. And so, yeah, he's ready to go. And hopefully our men will put a nice 4x4 together to get them all to get into the finals. And we'll have those guys and Cam in the hundreds. So yeah, it's not quite as deep a group as the ladies have, but they're ready to roll as well.
Coach, I do want to touch and look at the full body of work for you guys over the course of this season. Deshaun Jones is someone who we've had on the show, who talked to us about at one point not having a home in track and field, not knowing where he was going to compete. Third place finisher at the junior college indoor track and field meet in the 60-meter. Then he comes to Baylor, struggles through those first couple meets, maybe finishes he talked to us that he really didn't like, and then goes out and wins a Big 12 championship in the indoor. Goes the outdoor, wins a Big 12 championship, slated to finish 5th. Deshaun Jones' progression as a Baylor Bear so early on seems so interesting to me. What has led to his success so quickly?
Well, again, yeah, he's another neat story. Just watching him progress over this. We just had him since January, got him in. Coach Dalton and Coach Ford brought him in, and just coming in with an injury right off the bat, and having to try to nurse through that and COVID, and it was a lot, but his mental toughness and it's just his character and how bad he wants to be great is, it really comes out in him, and he's had a great year, and watching him win the first Big 12 title indoor was special, and watching him do it again outdoor. And I felt for him down at the first round in A&M because he was running a great race, would have been up here. But, in the hurdles, it's like life. You can hit a bad spot, and he knocked the trail leg. His trail leg, I think, was hurdle number 6 or 7, and just threw him off, and he couldn't recover from it. It was just too much. He hit it pretty hard, and so or otherwise he'd have been here. But he's had a great year, and expecting big things from him next year, even bigger.
Coach, to mention too, you had an athlete in Casey Lightfoot who made the decision to go pro in the middle of the season, but for a guy like that, he signs a contract with Puma, he's going to get ready for the U.S. Olympics. To have had Casey, and we've talked to him about how he'll be a Baylor Bear for life, to have Casey in your program and have a brand that shows, hey, we've got guys and gals year in, year out that are competing at the Olympic level, what does that do for the brand of Baylor?
Oh, it's great, that we want to be known as we're always going to honor the legend that Coach Hart built in 4x4 and 400U. That's always going to be who we are and a part of it. But we also want to be strong in those other event areas as well and have that reputation. And Brandon's done an amazing job with our vault crew. And, as a volunteer coach, he just makes so many sacrifices for those young people. And he did a tremendous job with Casey, helping him, reach the levels that he did indoor, becoming the best all-time indoor collegiate vaulter. And he's Tuesday Tidwell's a little walk-on girl from early Texas that just came and joined us. And here she is, was All-American, Big 12 champion. And Tuesday's ready to go. She's another one that may be flying a little bit under the radar right now. Of course, Aaliyah and Akira both did indoor. Nobody expected those guys to win national titles. But Tuesday's one that if she hits, she'll be competing for a national championship tomorrow or Thursday. And so she's ready to go. But no, we're always going to be grateful for Casey and what he's meant to this program. And yes, he will always be a Baylor Bear. And we would have loved to have him finish his career here and come out to Eugene with us. But we understood the decision he made, and we wish him nothing but the best. We'll see him up here in a couple of weeks for the Olympic trials.
Well, Coach, as we're rounding things out, I do want to know from you, it's such a unique perspective that you get. A lot of these coaches in basketball, football, their COVID restrictions were set. And they didn't change very much as the season went on. There wasn't a vaccine. I mean, these folks were dealing with kind of the same monotony. For you and your program, though, you go your first indoor meet, and there wasn't a vaccine to that point. Things are locked down. And now as things have started to open up and change and alter and even in different states, like New Mexico was locked down for so long when states like Texas were open. What has it been like in the middle of a sports season to see so much change so often as COVID has really started to pull away from its hold on sports?
Well, it's been just one of those you'll look back on years and just go, wow, you just fight right now. Everybody just fights and grinds and push through it, do what you have to do, even though sometimes you don't understand everything. Our trainers have just been incredible to watch what they've done, the sacrifices they made, the commitment they've made, making sure that we're doing everything that we can to possibly keep our athletes safe and have an opportunity to compete. And so we're just thankful, very humbled, and very grateful for the opportunity that they've given us. And you can't say enough thanks to them. But, yeah, it has been different, starting back in January and then, got outdoors. It changed from indoor to outdoor. The restrictions were a lot tougher, obviously, indoor than they were outdoor. And so we get to the outdoor season, and you come up here to Oregon, you talk about state by state. And, I mean, down at A&M last week, there were no masks in the stands and pretty much no mask requirements. And people were still wearing them, a few of them. But up here, it's basically back where we were at probably 3 months ago, in Texas. And so everybody's wearing masks. Their athletes can not wear them when they warm up and compete. But, going in and out of restaurants, a lot of the restaurants are still locked down up here. So you're having to take the food to go and things like that. So it's just been kind of interesting to see how leaving Texas and coming to Oregon has been different. And a majority of our athletes have been vaccinated. We've got, a few that haven't, but a majority have. And so, we're in a good place, and it's just we're ready to go.
Well, Coach, before we get you out of here, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you, when you think about the full slate of college track and the history that it has, Clyde Hart's name is obviously near the top of the list of folks that have really built the sport up. And John McDonald is too, who we lost this morning, former Arkansas coach who had over 40 national championships to his name, 83 conference championships. What did John McDonald mean to you and this sport?
He was an incredible man, and Randy Reyna, one of the Reyna brothers that ran for him. Randy, was texting me last night, letting me know he wasn't in good shape, and then he texted me this morning with the news, and so Randy and I were texting back and forth, and he was reliving stories with Coach McDonald, and of course I used to fish in a little place called Roaring River State Park just north of Fayetteville. I'll tell you a quick story. I wasn't recruited real heavily in high school. I played down at, football, basketball down at Port Isabel, and Coach Hart recruited me, but not many other majors did. And I signed with Baylor. Texas had offered me a part. But John McDonald, had he known about me, and after I won the national meet, after I signed with Baylor in June, I won the national meet, ran the best time in the country. Well, everybody's calling me, John, Oregon, everybody called me. I'd already signed with Baylor. But that would have been one place that I promise you I would have been at in a heartbeat. I probably would have been there over Oregon just because I love to fish about an hour north of there in a beautiful trout stream. But John, we were close. He got to watch me develop as an athlete. Niall O'Shaughnessy, one of his first famous Irish milers that came over, I ran second to him indoors my freshman year, and I remember John telling the newspapers, he said, that's the next great miler in the U.S., and I almost beat Niall in 1,000, and so we got really close. I think he really appreciated who I was, and I just got to know him as a person. He was a great guy, great man, loved his athletes, and just a special man. He's going to be missed. He's definitely going to be missed because he's definitely a legend in track and field and Arkansas track and field for sure.
Well, Coach, I know it couldn't be more fitting than to have you on today, the day the news breaks, and be able to talk to you about Coach McDonald and what he meant, not just to the University of Arkansas and the state, but the sport as a whole. And his statue still stands outside at Fayetteville, and it will for all time because of what he's done to innovate in the sport. Glad that we got to take a second to honor him and his life. Coach, before we get you out of here, our Bear Games question of the day, as always. Today's is a little more interesting. Today we've been talking a lot of football today. They announced that there's a possibility of a 12-team playoff in the football. They're on the cusp of maybe instituting that. So, wow. It'd be interesting to see that thing expand by 8 more teams, and how soon it would happen, we're not sure. But for you, if you were to be the guy that says, hey, here's what I want to do with the college football playoff, how many teams are you letting in that thing?
Man, you need to give me any time to think about that, Drake. That's a tough one. I'm an old football coach, and back when I played, it was 1 team got out and district, and then, they took 2, and now it's 4. And I'm just like, oh man, that's a little bit, my opinion, in high school, it's a little bit too much, it just waters it down, and you made the playoffs. Well, what does that really mean? But in the college world, 12 would be that seems like a nice number. Like, so I haven't been keeping up with all of that here the last few weeks. And so I hadn't really had a chance to ponder on it, but I think that level with the teams that we have buying in the year that we got knocked out of it, and sitting right there on the edge of it, boy, you just like a chance, for those teams that would like an opportunity to battle and fight for it. It seems like it would be great for the sport, great for the student athletes to have that opportunity to battle for a national championship. But I'd have to think about that one a little bit, but 12 sounds like a good place. I'm just not real sure about that. I need to think about it for a minute.
Coach, I'll give you a week to ponder, and then hopefully we can revisit next week after you guys go and make some noise up in Eugene. But I know your focus is on track for the rest of the week, as it should be.
Yeah. I haven't been thinking too much football.
I figured not, but Coach, I do want to – what's that?
I'll leave that to Coach Aranda right now.
Yeah, I'm sure his focus is on it while yours is there in Oregon. But Coach, I want to thank you again for coming on today. Always a pleasure to talk to you, and best of luck. Congratulations on all that you and your team have been able to do this season to sustain Baylor's success.
Thanks, Dre. We're going to try to finish strong. Thank you.
I love it. Absolute pleasure. Again, that's Coach Todd Harbor, the head track coach at Baylor University, I think he's one of 3 track coaches all time at Baylor. It's nuts, the history that program has had between him and Coach Clyde Hart, the 2 big names that bolster that, and getting a chance to honor John McDonald, who won so many national championships at the University of Arkansas, and was an innovator in the sport of track and field, and is the greatest coach of all time in track and field, and arguably the greatest collegiate coach of all time in any sport when you look at the full body of work, what he was able to do. But I'll tell you what, Felicia Mulkey's nipping on his heels. She's coming. I'm Drake Toll. That's Andrew Robertson. We got Marquise Cooley, Armstrong Sims, and Jack McKenzie. When we come back, Grayson Grundafer joins the show for the big board. Don't go anywhere. This is Up Tempo.
She has done it again. Nikki Cohen landed another all-star assistant by bringing Marquette's Tony Green on staff. Green has 27 years of experience in the collegiate game, with time spent at Langston University, Grambling State, Texas Southern, Toledo, and Ole Miss. Green's teams have reached the postseason 12 times, and he has coached over 30 all-conference selections, 6 All-Americans, and 5 Conference Players of the Year. He also brought in the #1 recruiting class in the SEC while at Ole Miss. Green comes along with his wife and niece and their 5 kids. On the diamond, Andy Thomas is getting the recognition he deserves. The Baylor catcher was named a finalist for the 2021 Buster Posey National Collegiate Catcher of the Year on Monday. Thomas is one of just 3 catchers in the nation to make the list. The final vote among the national committee will take place in 2 weeks during the College World Series. Each of the finalists will be brought to Wichita, Kansas for a banquet to announce the award's winner on July 1st. In tennis, a resounding 4 Bears have been given All-American honors by way of singles players Adrian Boitan and Matias Soto, while the doubles pairing of Konstantin Franzen and Sven Law have also been honored. Between singles and doubles, this is the 42nd combined time Baylor has an All-American on the squad. And Gonzaga Athletic Director Mike Roth said Monday that he will retire after 24 years at the university. Roth has spent a total of 34 years as a Bulldog and helped guide the athletic program to 73 postseason appearances. It's a shame he couldn't go out with a title. And in up-tempo news, we will be off the air tomorrow, filming for the men's basketball documentary. And Alabama has extended Nick Saban through 2028. I'm Armstrong Sims, and that's all the news that is news in college sports. This has been Armstrong's Minute on SicEm365 Radio's Up-Tempo.
Hey, this is Bryce Petty, former starting quarterback and 2-time Big 12 champion, and I know firsthand the importance of being in top shape both on and off the field. So listen up, men. If you're feeling beat down day in and day out and looking for that high-performance edge that separates the men from the boys, then look no further than the Petty Clinic Low T in Waco. Petty Clinic is a comprehensive men's healthcare clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Board-certified Dr. Kent Petty has a special interest in offering the highest quality medical care to men of all ages. Some of the services offered include screening and treatment for low testosterone or thyroid, infertility, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, while offering comprehensive wellness exams and complete men's health lab panels. High performance men, remember, it's not just a Petty thing. This is Bryce Petty, encouraging you to reach out and Google search Petty Clinic Low T or go to pettycliniclowt.com and get your complimentary lab screening today.
Parenting is full of surprises.
You never know what to expect.
So after our son was born, I called my Texas Farm Bureau insurance agent to set up a life insurance policy in case something happened to me.
Sawyer is now 2.
And we'll soon have a sister. There's no one else I would trust with protecting my family.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Ben Erlinson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Ben Erlinson, 100 North 6th Street in Waco, 254-759-8533. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco, and Balcones Whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, rye, brimstone, and the all-new lineage in stock. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive at 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness was built to help give you a chance to enjoy elite tennis facilities and also remain fit or reshape your body. Now Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness has gone through its own physical changes. There are 7 large flat screens stretched across the main and improved weight room with Wi-Fi available and their own app to enjoy news, business, weather, or sports channels. The beautiful sound of active treadmills and elliptical machines, group exercise classes throughout each day, a new ballet bar for bar classes, a new look lounge and bar with beer and wine with more large flat screens available. Touchless water fountains outside each spacious men's and women's locker rooms, showers, sauna, and whirlpool. Upgraded PA system throughout the world-class tennis courts and lessons for adults and juniors. I promise you'll look and feel better. You just need to walk through the front door. Also, Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness with personal trainers Christy London and Randall Corley. 40-plus group exercise classes, including twice-a-week boot camp. So start today, not tomorrow, at Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness on Lakeshore Drive in Waco.
It's morning, everyone. Today's the day.
we are getting out of here. The tank is clean. The tank is clean!
Welcome back to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio.
You are a sad, strange little man.
He won 3 piston cups.
He did what in his cup?
For a Baylor take on your lunch break.
That's it. This honor. This honor on your whole family. This honor on you. This honor on your cow.
Here's Drake Toll.
Welcome back into the Petty Clinic Low T Bears Den. Drake Toll, joined by Grayson Karunte for the big board today, talking football, recruiting, college football in general. There's a lot of stuff going on today across. I always say it every week. I'm going to say it again. College sports do not slow down in early June. They really won't slow down for the next couple weeks. College baseball going on. You got softball. It's in the World Series right now. If you're an NBA guy, I'm not an NBA guy, but if you are, you've been watching the Mavericks who lost out. But the NBA playoffs are still going on. I mean, we got a loaded slate.
Yeah, I mean, and the playoffs are fun. I like the NBA. My team's the Spurs, though, so it's kind of like, I mean, they're not doing much these days. I like it. The product's fine. I wouldn't say it's the greatest game. I prefer college basketball a little bit. I think it's a little more basketball, but hey, NBA's something to watch. It's fun.
Do you prefer the college baseball tournament over March Madness?
Oh, no.
You don't?
Not even.
Wow.
No, I love college baseball. Wow. I really do, but it is not March Madness.
Oh,
it's just not.
That's the worst. You must not have watched the Arkansas game last night then?
I mean, I saw some of your posts, so I saw some of the highlights, but no, I didn't sit there and watch Arkansas play. Who did they play?
Nebraska.
Nebraska, who, I mean.
Yeah, the Big Ten.
Cool.
Big Ten's awful at baseball. Yeah, but here's the deal. Those atmospheres, when will Baylor have an atmosphere like that?
For baseball?
For anything.
I mean, they just had in the national championship.
Yeah, I'm saying there was no atmosphere. COVID.
Okay.
COVID stifled it.
I mean,
yeah, like it would have been.
I mean, the atmosphere was. It was okay.
It was all right. It was not. It was just in comparison to what it like. If I think Houston 2012.
Yeah, I will say home teams. For instance, that's going to be a better atmosphere than any generic NCAA championship game for the most part. You have your outliers, like USC Texas was probably one of the most electric atmospheres ever. But yeah, I don't know. Baylor, 2014 or 2015 versus Oklahoma was a pretty crazy atmosphere. There's been some for football, that were pretty up there.
McLean's pretty loud.
Yeah, 2014 versus TCU that comes to mind. That atmosphere is pretty. I mean, when they made their comeback, whew.
2019 OU, the fourth touchdown when Brewer hits Mims just streaking,
on the go.
That was the most nuts. I think it's because it's so enclosed. McLean, for the most part, you get a lot of the noise. It kind of reminds me vaguely of Seattle. Just the way the noise doesn't escape that well. Makes it a little bit louder.
And it broke I think that's the most attended ever.
50,000.
So,
yeah. It's a matter of for me, it's a matter of just numbers wise, which the Big 12 numbers compared to the SEC or even some of the ACC schools, it's just not quite the same. When you look at even Autzen at Oregon has 77 or something, or maybe more than that. And then most of your SEC schools, I mean, A&M, Kyle Fields got 106.
Yeah, they just passed Texas. They're doing their I go up by 100, I go up by 100 thing they've been doing for 10 years now.
Yep, and Texas built the terrible, not sure how much we can specify. Yeah, that's awful,
but it gave them the lead. It's going to give them the lead.
There you go. Yeah, the price to pay, a small price to pay for the lead, I guess. Conversation today around, but I don't know. I was just thinking yesterday about Baylor atmospheres, and I think one of the big things, and folks are going to talk about this for all time, is just what it does when alcoholic beverages are sold at games, how it changes the game, and I think you point to the SEC. That said, do I want that to happen? I'm indifferent.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. It definitely adds to it. I mean, the Big 12 championship, Baylor versus Oklahoma, in which there were alcoholic beverages sold, it was pretty nuts in there.
It does turn it up a notch. Yeah. It's so interesting to me. Somebody was like, the greatest atmosphere in college football is the Cotton Bowl, Texas and OU. And I think that's so bogus. Whether you be, I think it's FNB or FNT that they play Florida, Georgia. When you have it 50-50 split, which those games are pretty 50-50 split, the loudest you can get is a 50% capacity crowd. So it's that's not the loudest that there is. Cotton Bowl's loud because the build of the stadium. But at the same time, like your best atmospheres are those it's a home game.
Auburn at Alabama.
Yeah, it can't
Something
be.
like that,
it's not a neutral site game where it's 50-50 split.
Michigan versus Ohio State. That's another one.
I'm thinking like Baylor, Duke in Houston, Elite Eight. Those are the outliers of play.
Yeah.
When you get like a local, like, hey, it's a postseason neutral site, but also it's close to a school.
And against a blue blood in which all of their fans travel.
Yeah.
That's kind of what you need. That's the perfect storm.
I think it was like 70-30 that game, though. There was a lot of Baylor fans at that.
There were, but I mean, you still get the travel. Like
yeah.
some teams, I mean, you'll get 10% of their fan base showing up, and you're like, wait, there's no one here for them.
Yeah.
I mean, even like UCLA this year, they had people show up, but then Houston, it's like nobody there at the Final Four. I mean, I don't know. That's just how it always is.
Yeah, I mean, I thought like Baylor fans definitely outnumbered Gonzaga in the national championship.
For sure.
Noise level, everything. It's just so disappointing we didn't see just a packed Lucas Oil.
Well, you also have to remember Baylor added a bunch of fans that day because all the UCLA and Houston fans were all cheering for Baylor too. Yeah. So that helped. That help matters.
Yeah, nobody wanted to see Gonzaga win it.
No.
And they did not. Which their AD just retired, too.
Saw that.
On the cusp of a national championship loss. You hate to see it. You hate to see it. Loses a natty and says, all right, that's it. I'm done. I am done. Other conversation today, so college baseball, college softball going on. Odici Alexander, the JMU pitcher for in the College World Series, has been nuts. I don't know if you've watched any of softball.
I did. She got knocked out.
She did.
Last night by Oklahoma.
Yeah, that was sad. It was inevitable, almost, but the fact that she beat them at one point is kind of nuts.
It is nuts, and OU's been very good. It was just one of those situations where you're like, you knew they were gonna get to her eventually because she pitched so well the first time out. It just OU's such a juggernaut softball.
Yeah. She also she definitely threw over 1,000 pitches this postseason.
Yeah.
No way she didn't. Beating Tennessee, then through Missouri and on to the College World Series. Also, so that's baseball, softball, track in Eugene tomorrow, kicking it off with a handful of athletes up there competing in the national championships.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. Excited to see how they can do on the national stage. Baylor's had a pretty good year in track. Some All-Americans.
Yeah.
It's been nice. Then obviously a big story that happened this week. Trayvon Bromell became the first person I think this year to break what was it? I think he broke 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he broke 10 or 9. No, 9-8 or something like that in the 100. So he's the favorite actually right now to win the gold medal at the Olympics, which is pretty big news. 9.77, I think, is what he dropped.
Jeez.
And good to see him getting healthy because he hasn't been healthy over the past couple of years.
Jeez, another Olympian, man. It's the pipeline. It's a pipeline.
I know.
So football, we've been having the discussion today, college football playoff, because the news came out that it sounds like they're dialing in on a 12-team playoff. That being, I like a 12-team a lot better than I like an 8. I think, I don't, my personal belief is that you don't have a rule where it's like, okay, you can expand, but only by either 2 or 4 teams. You know, I would much rather you say, hey, long term, we want to go 12 for 20 years. Well, then do it now. Don't go, hey, we're going to add a couple, and then we're going to add a couple more. Just do it. And it seems like they might just do that.
Yeah, I've always been fine with 8, but I'm also not opposed to 12. I think it's fine kind of either way to me. It's if that makes sense. It's not really like I hate one or I like the other. As long as each conference gets their champion in,
right,
I'm good, because that has to happen. The system was flawed when 4 teams were getting in, and I mean, you only had 5 power. You had 5 Power 5 conferences,
right,
4 spots, and typically 2 of those spots are going to the SEC. Yeah. So it makes no sense. It's like you're leaving everybody out. So, I like the move. 12 is cool. So the 5 Power 5 champs, and then the group of 5 top ranked team, and then just a bunch of SEC teams. So it'll be interesting.
But those have to be because you would go from 12 to 8. You'd have to play in, top 4 get a bye. I like the fact that top 4 get a bye. I agree with I don't want to see 16 seed. Who would be like? I don't want
Utah.
16 seed Utah. That's a great way to put that. I don't want to see 16 seed Utah and Alabama. I just don't. I don't care. I don't think Alabama wants to see that. I think the first round bye would be much better. What you've got there for me, you're gonna have to do it round 1 play in is the Chick-fil-A Bowl. You know, and then another play-in's a Capital One Bowl, and another one's the Gator Bowl.
Right.
And then when you get to that 8, you got 4 games between those 8 teams. Hey, one of those is the Rose Bowl, one of those is the Sugar Bowl,
Cotton Bowl,
one of those is the Cotton, one of the Orange, and then you go to the final 2, and you're like, okay, well, one of these is Fiesta, and one of these is the Chick-fil-A, and and then you go to the championship and whatever that may be. But I just you have to kill the New Year's 6 bowls. Those have to become playoff games.
Yes. Yeah, because you have 12 in. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. And I believe you had to be inside the top 14 to even qualify for one. Well, aside from the automatic bids. Right. But I think there were, for the group of 5, that is. So, yeah, I'm with you on that. I think, there's always going to be people that have problems with who makes it and who doesn't make it. Yeah. But I think it's a lot different when you're arguing 12 versus 13 or 14 than arguing 4 versus 5 or 6. Yeah. I just think the disparity is just 4, 5, and 6. You could argue a couple of those teams could have at least won a game. Right. I would say in the college football playoff for the past few years. I think expanding the college football playoff is going to help when it comes to guys that are declaring early too. Not declaring early, but guys that are sitting bowl games out. You're going to have less of that because now it matters. Because right now, college football bowl games don't matter. Kyle Pitts is not sitting out against Oklahoma if there's a chance to win a national title. Right. You're exactly right. That's the thing is college. Like people are like, the college football playoff. The one thing the college football playoff has done is kill bowl games. It has. But you were there for Baylor and Georgia. No one else was. Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, I mean, you're right. It doesn't matter anymore. Right, half the Georgia team sat out. Yeah, and none of the Georgia fans showed up. No. Nobody cared. That was the most empty I've seen. And both those teams would have been in the playoff. Yeah. And if that was a playoff game, it would have been totally different. Yeah. Great atmosphere. Now, if you're the 13th team, say you're 13, you're Wisconsin, and you're playing number 18, I don't know, give me Tennessee in a bowl game. You're in the, you made it on the outskirts. No one's going to that game. No one's going to that game, nor should anyone go to that game. You are effectively killing every team 13 and on, but at you're that playing point, in the Outback Bowl. But the revenue that you're making from the top 12 and having that playoff is going to make up for it. Yeah, you're exactly right. You're going to get your Christian McCaffrey not sitting out a meaningless bowl game. Mm-hmm. He will play in that game. So that's exactly right. And that's probably a big reason why they did 12, because now you're able to put in a lot of those top pro prospects in that game. It's going to be very interesting. I hope it gets taken into effect. Obviously, it won't for this year. I don't think they can make that happen. I don't know if we'll see it till 24. I hope it's the next year. I hope they can squeeze it into 23. I don't think we'll see it till 24. Being realistic though, that's how they operate. That's but how hard is that to just? I mean, it's not that hard. It's the NCAA. You can't do anything. It's like someone has a good idea and they're like, "We'll table it. We'll talk about that." For a you're while. Right. With that though, if you did 8, then you're saying like, "Hey, your number 9 team. Say you're number 9 Notre Dame." Which is a stupid argument to make because Notre Dame's never good in the postseason. Number 9, Iowa State next season. Hey, your season doesn't matter anymore. At that point, if you're the number 9 team out of an 8-team playoff and you're on the outside looking in, then what do you have left to live for in your bowl game? I know, nothing. But you don't. But that's all. Isn't that how it is every year though? Right. It's always like that. When you're not playing in a top bowl, then it's just kind of for fun. Yeah. And again, I mean, this year you would have been talking 8 versus 9 is Iowa State versus Cincinnati. Yeah. Cincinnati would have been automatic bid. It would have been Georgia or Iowa State getting in or not. And as much as I think Iowa State's good, Georgia's much better than Iowa State if you're doing 8 teams. Now, if you pushed it out to 12, I mean, this is where it gets interesting because 12 was Indiana, 13 was Florida. My money is telling me Florida would have gotten in over Indiana in that circumstance. So 10 Indiana just has it. And here's the deal. People will argue like, oh, yeah, well, Indiana was better this season. College, the brand plays into it. There's so much that plays into it. And Florida, healthy, playing their guys, they're better than Indiana. And I think it's easier to make that argument. Coastal Carolina and Louisiana both have losses, so Coastal losing to BYU, who would have been in the tournament if it was 12 teams, you don't have much of an argument. You lost that game. Yeah. It just is what it is. One more. I want to give you this before we get into camps and all the like. You're a USC fan. You loosely follow college sports. Okay, imaginary. Gotcha. Yeah. You vaguely follow college sports pretty closely. Football season, you're kind of around for basketball, baseball a little bit. Every now and then when the Trojans are good. Someone comes up to you on the streets like, "Hey, Grayson, USC Grayson, who has the better national brand in college athletics, Baylor or TCU?" What would you say? I mean, Baylor. Back it up. Oh, why? First of all, they just won the national championship in basketball, so they're a national brand. They're on center stage. Football-wise, they went through some hard times over the past few years, yet TCU did not take advantage of that at all, so they weren't really destroying the earth. They were beating Baylor, but not really showing too much. Baylor has the 2 Big 12 championships. TCU, I guess, tied for one back in the day.
Was that Trevon Boykin?
Yeah. TCU had LaDainian Tomlinson. He was really good. Loved watching him for the little bit I did.
School?
He went to a university in Waco, right?
Yeah,
I don't follow college football very much, but I think that's where he went.
Hey, just go to Rudy's. There's a shrine. There's a LaDainian Tomlinson shrine.
Oh my gosh. And if you loosely follow, I just think Baylor's national championship just completely changed things. Yeah. That changed the game between those two schools, athletic programs wise. That's how you get on the map for a casual fan.
Prior to the championship, it's probably tight.
Well, because it's hard. Why is a USC fan going to watch much Baylor or TCU?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, you're right on that. And so you have to have those national moments. And while Baylor came up short in football in those national moments, they did not in basketball.
Ah, that's true. They did not.
They did not.
Well put. Camp this past weekend. Nice. We're bringing it back, man. Folks are playing in McLean right now. Dave Aranda getting his first shot at leading a couple of these things. Take me through a lot of what you were able to see this past weekend, kind of what your weekend looked like football-wise.
Yeah, so showed up at camp 8 o'clock and got to go in and see a bunch of top recruits in the state and kind of outside the state as well. Baylor had 5 offers from the camp, and basically the setup is you go in, they did the COVID check-in, and then went down to the field, got warmed up with Vic Valoria and the strength and conditioning staff. What a group. They are so much fun, so much energy. So I loved seeing that. They got them warmed up, got them ready for the 40 time, the verticals and everything like that. You had players out there. I got to see Jacob Gall for the first time.
Really?
Which was cool. Got to see a bunch of other players, but obviously Gall's the one you pay attention to.
Big guy?
Big guy. Not as tall. So standing next to Xavier Newman. Not as tall as Xavier Newman.
Okay.
So probably more like 6'1", maybe 6'2", but thick legs. You can tell he's going to move. He's going to move people. His ankles, his calves, really thick. So I think he's a guy who's built really well, and he looks like a center. He looks like a center. So I do think that's probably where he'll fit in. But watching them go out and coach the recruits as players themselves was cool. Terrell Bernard's out there helping the linebackers, and then you got Ron Roberts, Dave Aranda, Joey McGuire, Sean Bell, DJ Johnson. They're going out there and they're just working really, really hard. And it's a lot of fun to see them. And DJ Dennis Meatball Johnson, he's a guy who...
That is the most hype, non-strength and conditioning coach that exists.
Yeah, and he's great. He's absolutely great. He was coaching guys really hard. He had them running back to the line after every rep, and he demanded attention. It was really cool, the attention to detail. And I think I got to see some of these coaches' personalities more than I think I have recently, just because we haven't been there to see them.
How has Dave Aranda's personality developed to you in the last year?
He's much more comfortable.
Yeah.
He's just much more comfortable, and obviously this year was just one of those weird years where not only did you not develop relationships with the players, but you weren't able to develop relationships with kind of your just culture, with the people outside of the program. And he just seems in his element now. He's going around talking to all the coaches. They're having a good time. He's talking to recruits. He's talking to anyone he really wants to and getting information. And I just think he's having so much fun right now.
Good.
And with the camps going on, recruiting picking up, I think it's only going to be more fun for him and the entire coaching staff.
So interesting to me. I remember the West Virginia game and a couple of those early games where it was like, just yell, just get into somebody's grill and just give me something. And that's what a lot of the fans were screaming. And it feels like, even toward the end of the year, you could see him. Like, the passion's there, and it's becoming more and more outward. He's got the stoic look to him, but also you're starting to see you can see him becoming more comfortable and growing in his own.
So yeah, and I will say a big thing about college football, and I think it's so underrated, is coaches have to learn how to coach certain players. And if you don't know your players well, then you don't know what works for those players. So if you're yelling at one guy who does not handle that well and is much better when you're just laying out facts and talking in a soft-spoken manner, well, then things can be misconstrued. On the other hand, you have a guy who needs to be pushed.
Yeah.
And you don't really know. You're kind of walking around, the subject at hand a little bit, but now you get to know these guys and get to really feel out their personalities. And I think that's going to be a huge improvement for this Baylor team. Everyone's going to be on the same page, and everyone knows what the expectation is. And that is what it is. And I think for Dave Aranda, in his situation, it's now he knows the players really well and knows how he can kind of pass out direction and provide that leadership in a way that is constructive and really helps this team.
It's so much for me, the fact that if Baylor would have brought in a Lane Kiffin or a Mike Leach who has this just brash or wild personality, they're comfortable day one, but in a very almost shady car salesman way where it's like, Chad Morris effect.
Where you're losing half the team to the transfer portal.
You have great slogans, but also you're kind of not very good at being a football coach.
Right. I mean, look at what happened to Mike Leach. They lost many guys, and so many guys just quit this year for Mississippi State. I mean, they looked good at the beginning, and then it come to find out.
They beat LSU, and then it was like, oh, shoot.
And then we realized LSU was really bad last year.
Yeah.
So.
Mississippi State beats LSU, and it's like, this is the one. And they don't score a point for 3 straight weeks.
And LSU just keeps losing, and it's just like, oh, that was not an impressive one anymore.
So yeah, for Mike Leach, and which makes me think, people were talking about then, like Dave Aranda, questioning his personality, questioning his passion, questioning how ready he was. Is he comfortable? I would much rather have a guy come in, hey, I'm going to feel this thing out, learn how I can do this, the best that I can do it, and then go out there and punch it in the mouth when I'm ready to. And even in interviews, he's like, he's ready now.
Well, and he made the changes. He put his foot down
Boom.
And was like,
that's the best part.
I'm not settling with what we did. Yeah.
1 year in. It's not like, hey, you got a grace period. It's like, no.
I made a mistake.
You're done.
Yeah, I made a mistake.
Yeah.
That's what he's basically saying, and he went out and got the best of the best, and Eric Mateos and Jeff Grimes, watching them is a pleasure as well to watch. You want to talk about a guy that brings the energy. Eric Mateos, my goodness.
Yeah.
He's going to bring some fun to the offensive line, which I think is going to be much needed and will help a lot.
Yeah, just that hire in itself. It's the Fedora was on the decline in his career. He had been fired. It's the, hey, we're going to help rejuvenate that coach. But this isn't the Alabama or New England Patriot rejuvenation program. This is a, hey, who's up and coming, who's got a trajectory. I mean, Jeff Grimes should be a head coach in 5 years.
Yeah,
Sean Bell should be an OC or a head coach in 5 years. Yeah. Joe McGuire, same thing. I mean, you're looking at guys on the staff that they shouldn't be here in 5 years, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that means you're doing really well.
Right, that's what you want.
Yeah, and I think Mateos has a good trajectory as well. I really do. I think that I hate comparing coaches, but I do think we'll see what he does at Baylor. That's
He's
a big
Sam Pittman prodigy.
I was going to say, you could see him turn into Sam Pittman a little bit where at some point he ends up being a head coach. Right. It would not surprise me.
But it took Sam Pittman a long time.
It did. But he also passed on. He waited till he got the right job for him.
Yeah, he didn't go to South Alabama
or Southern Miss. He waited, and that's a big difference. He could have been a head coach much longer time ago.
Yeah. So how about this? Talking about some of these offers that came from the camp across this past weekend. Talk to me through a couple of players you looked at that you really liked.
Okay, I think we'll just start with the 2022s. I think that's a good place to start. So Ennis Sledge out of Neville High School in Louisiana, a really, really interesting prospect who I've been talking to him since November. He's one of those kids that just sent me his film. And we just started talking.
Yeah.
He hadn't even talked to the Baylor coaching staff, nothing like that. And we just kind of talked through his recruitment a little bit and what was going on. And I saw him on Saturday and was kind of surprised to see him. I hadn't heard that he was going to come to the camp. I knew he was talking to Baylor a little bit, but showed up 6'4", 300 pounds.
Jeez.
Full-grown man out there, and a guy who I think will be a perfect fit if he ends up at Baylor to play the nose tackle position. So excited about his potential. He's also a guy who is going to visit Texas Tech, and I believe TCU over the next month. But he said he's making a decision June 28th, and he did tell me back a few months ago when I first started talking to him that Baylor was his dream school. And I asked him again after he got the Baylor offer, and he said, Baylor's still my dream school. So things are trending up. June 28th is his date that he has set right now. We'll see if that ends up happening. I felt like that might be a little rushed, but if you know, you know. So we'll see what happens if he can add even more offers.
Wow. One of the guys that I've been looking at that, Peoples.
Yeah, Jalen Peoples.
So I saw that like he's not going to the Iowa or to an official visit at Iowa now. He posted the thing in the Kansas uniform. Like, what's going on?
So he took his official to Kansas.
Okay.
That's why he posted that. So obviously when players go on official visits, they take
you're gonna
the
post
pictures.
a jersey.
Yeah, exactly. He canceled his trip to Iowa. Not exactly sure why he did that, but I don't know if you caught this. There was a little bit of drama over the weekend, I guess, because someone posted something something Jalen Peoples posted. Someone posted Davion Mitchell, saying let's go, like in a GIF.
Yeah.
And some Iowa reporter said he's like, this isn't Baylor basketball. Baylor football and Baylor basketball are totally different things, or got all like, I don't know, was making some sort of statement. And then a day or two later, Jalen Peoples isn't going to visit Iowa anymore. I don't think it was because of that, but it just was kind of funny and ironic. But yeah, he won't be going on a visit. He's committing June 28th, I think is his new date that he set. It was originally a while ago. Then it was July 1st. Now it's June 28th. Good news for Baylor is that would be right after his official visit, which is the 25th through the 27th. I mean, if they can't win that battle, if he's committing the day after he leaves, I mean, that would be kind of a tough pill to swallow.
Yeah, 24/7 Hawkeye. Basketball is not football. Baylor football recruiting with Baylor basketball. I don't even know what that means.
Yeah, no.
But that probably didn't bode well for your fan base when growing up in Arkansas, that's all it was. It's like a recruit was like, here's my top 5. Arkansas is in there. It's just all Arkansas. Commits somewhere else. It's just a horde of Arkansas fans. Like,
well, now he's not visiting. So
yeah, that's
they're out. Yeah.
Iowa football, man. Will Iowa football win a championship in our lifetime?
They might make the playoff now. 12 teams.
Yeah, 12 teams.
They've been on the verge a couple times.
Baylor would have made 3, maybe 4 playoffs in the last 10 years in a 12-team format.
What do you got?
3 for sure.
13, 14, and 19.
19?
Is 15 the question mark?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think they probably would have. It would have been close. When going into the North Carolina game, I believe they were, maybe 12, 13, 14, something like that.
It's right. You're going right there, which you're missing a quarterback, but also ended up being fine.
Yeah.
They found a way to just rush for 700 yards.
They could have won a playoff game. They wouldn't have won the championship, but they could have won a game.
I feel like that's most years, though, It's like Baylor's really good, but would they have a chance to go Alabama?
I think 13, 14, maybe.
Yeah.
I really do. I mean, Ohio State won the championship. Alabama had Blake Sims that year. That just was not one of their better teams. And then in the championship, you would have been playing Oregon. And you never know. In a shootout like that, you never know.
Right.
That wouldn't be a team that would scare you. The Alabama win that Ohio State got was pretty much it. That was the title game.
Anything that I'm not checking off in football, recruiting, stuff going on right now?
Well, I mean, there was another 2022 offer in the area.
Oh, bring it on.
Out of Colleen Ellison, Devontae Tizzino. He got an offer, 6'5", 250-pound defensive lineman. Again, came to camp, performed really well, got the offer. That's kind of a trending theme is Baylor builds these relationships with guys, and then they get them on campus for a camp so they can really see their testing, athletic times, measurables, everything like that. And then an offer can come, and that happened for Tizzino. So big offer for him. He's kind of been on a roll. Right after he got the Baylor offer, he got, I believe, Minnesota and Kansas State back-to-back. So I don't know where that evaluation came from or if they just saw Baylor offer after a camp and wisely decided to offer.
Yeah.
Could be a bunch. They also have 3 more offers they put out in 2023. So they really had a nice day. They also sent out an offer to a 2024 quarterback, Derek Lagway, who's a Baylor legacy. That happened just a little bit ago. So really cool to see that for him. And, I mean, you want to offer legacies as early as possible, and they definitely got in the mix. He's 6'3", 209 pounds, and plays both baseball and football. So I think he'll be a recruit for both for the Bears, which, I mean, that's always nice. He said he was throwing 89 right now on the gun as a, incoming sophomore?
Yeah, that's a lot.
He's about to be a sophomore.
Jeez. Well, Develop that.
Yeah,
God
exactly.
Bless. Well, Grayson, thanks for coming on the big board as always.
Yeah,
football,
thanks for having
baseball,
me.
everything else in sports. This is developed into just sports.
It's just sports. We just talk.
I love it.
We just talk.
It's like a 30-minute podcast in the middle of a live radio show. That's exactly what this is.
Yeah.
This is a mini podcast
It is a mini
in the middle of a radio show about everything. You know what? Next week, let's talk about politics.
Oh. No, I'm out. I'm not coming up for that one.
This is what do we call it? The Armstrong, Elliott, or what? No, it's the Equestrian and Everything Else podcast. Yeah, talking about equestrian and mixed drinks.
Oh, I haven't seen the equestrian yet. When are we talking that?
Yeah.
Is that coming up?
That's coming up.
Okay,
we got
cool.
big horses. They're bringing a couple new horses that I'm excited about. Drake Toll, Grayson Gruntaver, we got Armstrong, Sims, Andrew Robertson, Marquise Cooley, and Jack McKenzie. When we come back, Morgan Uber joins the show. Don't go anywhere. This is Up Tempo.
She has done it again. Nikki Cohen landed another all-star assistant by bringing Marquette's Tony Green on staff. Green has 27 years of experience in the collegiate game, with time spent at Langston University, Grambling State, Texas Southern, Toledo, and Ole Miss. Green's teams have reached the postseason 12 times, and he has coached over 30 all-conference selections, 6 All-Americans, and 5 Conference Players of the Year. He also brought in the #1 recruiting class in the SEC while at Ole Miss. Green comes along with his wife and niece and their 5 kids. On the diamond, Andy Thomas is getting the recognition he deserves. The Baylor catcher was named a finalist for the 2021 Buster Posey National Collegiate Catcher of the Year on Monday. Thomas is one of just 3 catchers in the nation to make the list. The final vote among the National Committee will take place in 2 weeks during the College World Series. Each of the finalists will be brought to Wichita, Kansas for a banquet to announce the award's winner on July 1st. In tennis, a resounding 4 Bears have been given All-American honors by way of singles players Adrian Boitan and Matias Soto, while the doubles pairing of Konstantin Franzen and Sven Law have also been honored. Between singles and doubles, this is the 42nd combined time Baylor has an All-American on the squad. And Gonzaga Athletic Director Mike Roth said Monday that he will retire after 24 years at the university. Roth has spent a total of 34 years as a Bulldog and helped guide the athletic program to 73 postseason appearances. It's a shame he couldn't go out with a title. And in up-tempo news, we will be off the air tomorrow, filming for the men's basketball documentary. And Alabama has extended Nick Saban through 2028. I'm Armstrong Sims, and that's all the news that is news in college sports. This has been Armstrong's Minute on SicEm365 Radio's Up Tempo.
Pay over qualified buyer with $4,000 down at 2.9%. TTNL Extra. See deal for details.
Travel is back, and so are the savings at the Memorial Day Savings Event at Richard Carr. Save $5,900 on 2021 Buick Encore. Drive off in the affordable luxury of a Buick Encore for as little as $258 a month. Or vacation in the spacious comfort of a 3-row Buick Enclave and save $8,500. 100% credit approval is always our goal. It's the Memorial Day Savings Event going on now at Richard Carr.
At Richard Carr, we give you more. At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be a part of the Waco community. We're a small family business right here in Central Texas, and our goal is to bring down the cost of healthcare while maintaining high quality. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important, and unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. That's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through the difficult time. We offer premium MRIs just like a hospital with state-of-the-art technology and specialists, but you'll pay less. Sometimes thousands of dollars less, whether you're using insurance or not. At Ideal MRI, we accept most insurance and there are no hidden costs, even offering financing if that's needed. Everything included in the price, and you'll not get something as a surprise in the mail later on. If you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. They'll know. You can schedule an appointment safely from home online in minutes at idealmri.com or give us a call, 833-IDEAL-MRI, idealmri.com.
At Marco's Pizza, get craveable pizza made the Italian way with dough made from scratch, an original sauce recipe, 3 fresh signature cheeses, and premium toppings you love, served hot and safe. Right now, you can get unlimited medium one-topping pizzas for just $6.99 each. Why stop at just one? Order with your app or at marcos.com for curbside, carryout, or delivery today. Marco's, pizza lovers get it.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Cam Heathcott, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Cam Heathcott, covering Conroe and Houston, 936-756-7717 or cam.heathcott@edwardjones.com. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Boots add protection. Good boots help you climb better and move forward faster. And when your son or daughter steps into the boots of a U.S. Army officer, they also learn how to lead. In these boots, they'll gain more confidence with expert training in one of more than 150 occupational specialties. In these boots, they'll stand a little taller and lead a team with diverse backgrounds and areas of expertise to successfully accomplish whatever challenge comes next. In these boots, they'll earn respect with valuable experience from day one that will give them solid footing for success into the future. Highly qualified candidates who earn a spot on our team can receive comprehensive health care coverage, college tuition assistance, and a bonus of up to $40,000. See all the things your son or daughter can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
To the Bears Den with Drake Toll.
No one's watching it. No one cares. And the product on the field sucks. I don't give a rat's ass. Why, who would?
Wow.
Why would?
We upgraded from A-word. We're now saying it.
On SicEm365 Radio's Up-Tempo.
Welcome back into the Petty Clinic Low T Bears Den. Happy Tuesday. College baseball going on. We got the college softball World Series happening right now. We've been talking football and recruiting. Just had Grayson Grundy for the Big Boyd. And now we're joined by Big 12 digital correspondent Morgan Uber. As always, Morgan, thanks for coming on today. Always great to have you.
Drake, great to be here. Here we are a whole nother week, and we still got some Big 12 teams competing in two different sports for some national championships. So with softball really kicking things off tonight.
Yeah, Morgan, I mean, here we are. A lot's changed in the last few days with the NCAA softball. I mean, there are calls from fans and coaches. Patty Gasso, who is at the forefront of the sport, comes out and says, listen, this just isn't fair. There needs to be changes made. And the NCAA responds by moving back, adding another day into the College Softball World Series. I thought that was a big move for the NCAA, for the conference, for Oklahoma. And now they get Florida State tonight in a matchup of two teams that have championships in the last 5 seasons.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy to think, Drake, that only 4 times has someone come out of the losers bracket and ended up winning the College World Series in softball. And we're guaranteed that this time around because both Florida State and Oklahoma lost their first round games and had to grind it out in 4 elimination games just to get here. So, yeah, I think the extra day definitely helps. I do think, backing up to that point, it was a little bit of what happened between that Oklahoma State game and the Florida State game ending at 2 a.m. On Saturday night or Sunday morning. So definitely a good change and definitely, I believe, benefits the student athlete to get that rest and that extra day built in.
I tell you, Morgan, with Oklahoma winning, obviously it's exciting for the Big 12 and you get a team that's playing in the national championship from the conference, and no surprise with how good Oklahoma's been, but James Madison, what an absolute run and a storyline they had this season.
I mean, one of the reasons that we all love college sports is the great stories that come out of it. And I mean, how many of us knew Odyssey Alexander's name a month ago? I mean, probably not many, unless you were, a James Madison softball fan. But what she's done for the sport, absolutely incredible. And even Oklahoma head coach Patty Gasso talked about how not only did she make Oklahoma better, the #1 team in the country all season long, no question. She made the team better, but also the sport as a whole. watching the game yesterday when she came out in the bottom of the 5th inning, you kind of just got goosebumps. And just even talking about it right now, it gives me the goosebumps all over, getting that standing ovation from, JMU fans, Oklahoma fans alike. But really just have to commend what she was able to do throughout this, the entire NCAA tournament, starting back in the regionals and, headed to the super regionals, defeat a really good Missouri team. And then what she was able to do leading her team, both, pitching and batting. I mean, a two-way versatile player. Just absolutely incredible. So, yeah, I mean, the whole Oklahoma team, spoke on her performance, and G. Juarez said, game recognizes game. She's a baller, and she totally earned that standing ovation. So you just love to hear, sort of that camaraderie against opponents. And, it was definitely really special what she did, and we'll remember that one for forever, really.
Morgan, along with it, I didn't know, her brother played basketball at Kansas State, Isaiah. And so there's another little tidbit to throw in there, Big 12 connection for Odyssey. But then you get Oklahoma now with Florida State coming up on the docket in the Women's College World Series. What are you looking forward to in this one? I mean, there's no way Patty Gasso and Oklahoma don't get another one, right?
I'd like to think so. Again, the Big 12 homer coming out in me, but I think these are really, with Oklahoma and Florida State, two different offenses. Oklahoma, they lead the country in home runs, and we expect to see plenty of those here in this championship series from, whether it's Jocelyn Allo or Tara Jennings. Just, they have the ability to knock it out of the park. But on the other side of things, for Florida State, they manufacture runs in very different ways. So it's more of the base hit, situational hitting, and stealing bases. So I think it's going to be a really good series. But again, we've seen Oklahoma this year. They have to go down as the best offense we've ever seen in collegiate softball. So they rank number one in literally every category. I do expect it to be, a great series, and expect it to go 3 games. So, we'll see if the Sooners are able to take care of business sooner. They've been so dominant and have been able to pull off so many run rule wins throughout this entire season. But, with Florida State's ability and, what we've seen from them during the College World Series, I think the player to watch for them is Kaylee Mudge. She's a freshman, went 5 for 5, last night. So they have some talent, both pitching and within their lineup. But I do think Oklahoma's lineup is just way too much for anyone to handle. And, we saw that with Odyssey Alexander, just, not being able to get it done and running out of gas for JMU. So, time will tell.
Well, that kicks off tonight on ESPN, the Women's College World Series. And Morgan, we have seen an unbelievable slate of college baseball in the last few days. Regional time of the year, the regional time of the year is one of my favorites because you get so many packed houses in baseball. Feels like sports has really come back. I mean, Austin this last weekend was just absolutely packed to the brim the entire weekend as I think it was 33-5 combined score in their regional. They took out opponents. And we'll start there with the number 2 overall national seed, Texas. They had a bit of an easier slate in comparison to some of these teams, but they put to rest any question about their possibility of getting through their regional.
That they did. Last week when we went through these regionals, Texas definitely had the clearest and easiest path in order to advance. And then, getting the Gainesville regional winner with USF, I mean, they were the number 4 seed there in that regional. So it's a little surprising that we're not seeing a Florida or Miami taking on the Longhorns. But yeah, they looked dominant and they really needed things to, get back to the Texas way of what we saw from them earlier in the season. Because when, you look at what they did against Oklahoma City, that lineup, I mean, they couldn't have been more flat. They had a really difficult time manufacturing runs. And, maybe it was a little bit of them holding everything back. And, you'd pose the question, our team's going all out. And maybe they did save a little bit of those hot bats for things to get going here in the regionals. But, I mean, absolutely dominating performance, able to sweep their way through. There was no question, honestly, that they are the number 2 team in the country right now, right behind Arkansas. So I like what the Longhorns are doing and, their pitching staff. When you look at Pete Hansen being their day 3 starter, I mean, that's dangerous. So if things were to go to a 3rd game with USF, you got the right guy out there on the mound to start after what we saw from him yesterday with his, best career game, 13 strikeouts. So I think Texas is sort of peaking at the right time, you could say. And that's exactly what you want here in the postseason.
Morgan, moving to the next highest seed in the NCAA tournament from the Big 12, you've got a team in TCU that just didn't fare well over the course of the weekend against a tough slate with DBU and Oregon State. They go out losing 2 out of 3 after winning their opening game. And I attribute a lot of that to how tough their field was, but just nothing doing this weekend for the Horned Frogs.
Right on. I mean, these teams that they had to face, DBU, you mentioned, I mean, this is a team that has been so consistent in the postseason. They've made it to the regional round, in the last 7 years and just haven't been able to get over the hump to the super regional. But it was, as much as, of course, as I would have wanted to see TCU, a Big 12 team, advance, it's always really cool. And it did remind me a little bit of what JMU did in the comparison of here you have these mid-major teams that are able to come up against these powerhouses and teams that are on the national stage and brand names. But I think for those that follow college baseball closely and have over the past few years, I mean, it probably wasn't too much of a surprise of Dallas Baptist able to get things going. And then, we talked about Oregon State. I mean, this is a team that had players from their national championship win. And I think, both of those teams, when their backs were against the wall, just were able to perform really well. So I think, it was unfortunate definitely to see TCU not come out of their regional, but they did have a really tough field.
And Morgan, I would believe it impossible to win a baseball series in Lubbock, even a baseball game in Lubbock, if it wasn't for the Baylor Bears. Texas Tech does it again. I mean, they just have been so dominant at home, and they swept through their regional fairly handedly.
Right. You mentioned it. Until the Baylor series this year, back in, mid-April, Texas Tech hadn't lost a series at home since 2018. So this is a team that has that home field advantage. There's no question about it. And similar to Texas, I mean, they just looked dominant and no question who the best team was in that regional. I think their lineup, again, it's, firing on all cylinders, led by Jace Jung, who, had a big weekend. And, I think, Stanford will pose, though, a challenge for them here moving forward. But, definitely great to see 2 teams in the Big 12 advance here to the super regional round.
Morgan, I'm looking at the Supers and what we got going on, and there's a lot of great baseball coming our way this weekend as everything is now set across the NCAA tournament. So college softball moving through the super regional time in baseball and a lot going on. And with a couple of these, Texas gets South Florida, who was a 4 seed in the Gainesville regional, and Texas Tech gets Stanford. Yeah, I would be worried about that Texas Tech regional if it wasn't for the fact that they're at home.
I mean, I do expect, though, Texas Tech to be able to prevail. But, with Stanford, I think their pitching depth isn't quite there. They do get good, pitching all around from both their starters and bullpen. Starting wise, Brendan Beck, he's their clear ace, won Pac-12 Pitcher of the Year. So he may, pose some issues for this Texas Tech lineup. But I do think the home field advantage will prevail like it has for the past 3 seasons for Texas Tech, aside from that Baylor series loss. But again, another team that's just kind of peaked at the right time. I think in the Big 12 tournament, the double elimination, they had to play the double header game, and that was quite a disadvantage to them with the rain delay and moving things back. But, expecting them to win and expecting Texas to win as well, to have 2 teams there in Omaha here in just a week or 2.
Yeah, Morgan, Texas goes from their Austin regional that we think, will they be challenged, to now playing South Florida, the 4 seed from Gainesville. I mean, if you're Texas, you're just kind of chomping at the bit at this point with these teams you've gotten to play.
Right. I mean, they have had by far the easiest path in the, between their regional and now their super regional. But this USF team, you can't look past them. I mean, they were able to defeat, Florida. So I do think Texas can't take them lightly, but I think the way that Texas played in their regional round, that they won't. And I think that was what was really impressive to me was, Texas was supposed to beat those teams and was supposed to beat them handedly and came out and did that out of their regional round. So if they can carry that forward, they have outstanding pitching with Ty Madden as their ace, Tristan Stevens, and then I mentioned Pete Hansen. So between those 3 starters and the depth of their bullpen, pitching is just absolutely absolutely crucial this time of year when you get into the postseason play. And I mean, there's no better team. Texas is number 1 in the country with their ERA right now. So they are rolling, and, I do expect them to win this one handedly as well.
Well, Morgan, transitioning from baseball to women's basketball, we've had some big news over the course of the last week. You got Nikki Collin making another hire, bringing in another assistant coach on her staff from Marquette, and Jamie Asbury, who was so good at Oklahoma State, and making the transition from that program to being a Lady Bear. What do you make of what Nikki Collin has done even in the last week?
Well, what she's done, Drake, I mean, she's brought in 2 assistant coaches with, one having 16 seasons of collegiate experience as an assistant coach. And then you mentioned Tony Green has 27 years at the collegiate level. So, I think one of the things when I think back to Coach Collins' press conference was the fact that she was an assistant once before at the collegiate level, and she was allowed to have a voice at that level. And she plans to give her assistants a voice. And I think, the coaching staff that she's hired, they are poised and ready to do that. And I expect them to be, an integral part of the success and the early success that they have here, carrying on the winning tradition for Baylor women's basketball.
Well, definitely a huge pickup to Jamie Asbury coming to town from Oklahoma State, what she was able to do in a conference perspective last year, leading that team to the NCAA postseason. Morgan, today, too, it's been announced that we're on the cusp, it looks like. 12-team playoff in college football. We're right there, and it's possible that happens sooner than later. For you, what does that do for the Big 12? Obviously, it's going to give maybe another team or two an opportunity to get in, but how would this benefit our conference from a football standpoint?
Well, a Power 5 or, Autonomy 5 conference would never get left out of the playoff again. I think, I read Pete Thamel's article from Yahoo Sports, and it was really well laid out. So for those of you that haven't read it, really great. So I think, the Autonomy 5s would all get an automatic bid, and it would also open things up, for the mid-majors like we saw last year. I mean, Cincinnati would have been a really exciting team to be able to get in. I love the idea, of the 12-team playoff expanding, giving the opportunity for the Big 12. I think, there's a good chance that, especially, if it was able to be implemented this year, the expectation for both, Oklahoma and Iowa State, it'd be a slam dunk for us to be able to get, 2 teams in. But I think what would be, interesting is the way that it's planned to be, potentially laid out, which the top 4 seeds would essentially get buys, and then, 5 through 8 would be hosts essentially, and it would be, really cool. I think the thing with college football is, I love the bowl games, of course, but so much of the tradition happens right there on campus. So for them to have the opportunity to host those 9 through 12 seeds, but you also have to think too, there'd have to be some sort of cost share set up, because it would be a disadvantage for those top 4 seeds to have a bye. So I think there's still a lot to work through. I think that, that particular article that I read did a great job of laying out, the potential possibilities, what it'll look like. But, if anything, I think it's great for the Big 12. I think it's great for the sport of college football. It's great for the Group of 5 conferences that, haven't gotten a shot to, be in the college football playoff and have just really been, a little bit a part of the conversation. But it definitely opens the doors and makes things interesting, that's for sure.
Well, Morgan, before we get you out of here, I know there's one more thing I wanted to check off that I haven't run by you yet, but Andy Thomas has been announced as a finalist for the Buster Posey Award, Baylor's starting catcher. One of just 3 players announced as finalists, and the only one from the Big 12. Another solid accolade for a Baylor baseball team that saw their season end sooner than they may have liked.
Absolutely. It's so deserving, too, of that honor, being just one of 3 named, from what he did defensively behind the plate, but also, he had some huge games, some huge at-bats. And so it was really, really exciting to see him get that honor. And it's always great to see these postseason awards come through. And the Big 12 has been right there with so many of them. But yes, I'm not surprised to see his name, and, hoping that he's able to cross the finish line and earn that honor.
Well, Morgan, before we get you out of here, I got to ask you. I know you said you like the 12-team playoff. It's our Bear Games question of the day today. If you could have one playoff, if you're the guy, the gal in charge of making this playoff, How many teams?
12. I mean, that's honestly, I've always thought that you talk to the people who are like, ooh, that's too many. Let's just start with 6 or 8. But, I think 12 really gives an opportunity for some of these, group of 5 teams to come in and, surprise some people. I think it makes things interesting, not just seeing the same 4 teams every year being able to compete. And I think eventually that'll help, recruiting across the board, and not just for the Power 5 conferences, but for some of these group of 5 schools as well. So I love the idea of going to 12, but I think much more than that, the competition, if you're going all the way, it's not like college basketball where you're going to have a 16 seed be able to knock off a number 1. College football is different, of course, as we know. So the 12, it's perfect with me, and sure hope it happens.
I love it. Morgan, thanks for coming on as always. A pleasure to have you.
Drake, thanks so much for having me. Hopefully we have a Oklahoma softball title to celebrate and talk about.
Hopefully so. Thanks again, Morgan. Again, Morgan Uber, Big 12 digital correspondent, joining the show today. Drake Toll, Armstrong Sims, J.D. PicKell is not here, but he was. Jack McKenzie, Marquise Cooley, and Andrew Robertson. When we come back, Matthew Postins joins the show. This, don't go anywhere, is Up Tempo.
She has done it again. Nikki Cohen landed another all-star assistant by bringing Marquette's Tony Green on staff. Green has 27 years of experience in the collegiate game, with time spent at Langston University, Grambling State, Texas Southern, Toledo, and Ole Miss. Green's teams have reached the postseason 12 times, and he has coached over 30 all-conference selections, 6 All-Americans, and 5 Conference Players of the Year. He also brought in the #1 recruiting class in the SEC while at Ole Miss. Green comes along with his wife and niece and their 5 kids. On the diamond, Andy Thomas is getting the recognition he deserves. The Baylor catcher was named a finalist for the 2021 Buster Posey National Collegiate Catcher of the Year on Monday. Thomas is one of just 3 catchers in the nation to make the list. The final vote among the National Committee will take place in 2 weeks during the College World Series. Each of the finalists will be brought to Wichita, Kansas for a banquet to announce the award's winner on July 1st. In tennis, a resounding 4 Bears have been given All-American honors by way of singles players Adrian Boitan and Matias Soto, while the doubles pairing of Konstantin Franzen and Sven Law have also been honored. Between singles and doubles, this is the 42nd combined time Baylor has an All-American on the squad. And Gonzaga Athletic Director Mike Roth said Monday that he will retire after 24 years at the university. Roth has spent a total of 34 years as a Bulldog and helped guide the athletic program to 73 postseason appearances. It's a shame he couldn't go out with a title. And in up-tempo news, we will be off the air tomorrow, filming for the men's basketball documentary. And Alabama has extended Nick Saban through 2028. I'm Armstrong Sims, and that's all the news that is news in college sports. It's been Armstrong's Minute on SicEm365 Radio's Up-Tempo.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jewelry, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store and more. With so many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping for insurance, and I never know if I'm getting the policy that's right for me. Luckily, I met the team at the Niche Group Insurance Agency. With the Niche Group, you can go to one company and get access to coverage options from many insurance carriers, and you get to speak to a real person about your specific coverage needs. With the Niche Group, I know I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. If you need insurance, talk to the experts at the Niche Group at 1-800-258-8302.
it's time to fire up the grill, heat up the oven, or get that deep fryer going to enjoy the top quality products at Waco Custom Marketplace. Order 30-pound sacks of live crawfish by 6 on Wednesday. Pick up on Friday afternoon after 2 or Saturday. Enjoy the weekend. 30-pound sacks of live crawfish available right now for $4.25 a pound. Find all the crawfish boil ingredients you need, including red beef potatoes, sausage, corn cobbettes, and Louisiana boil seasoning. Make your order for live crawfish by Wednesday at 6. Pick up on Friday after 2 or all day Saturday, and enjoy the weekend. Waco Custom Marketplace, your home for fresh baked kolache, cinnamon rolls every day. Butcher shop to cut your steaks the way you want. Fresh seafood, summer sausage, boudin, house cured and smoked bacon, spices, seasoning, soup mixes, and more, and weekly gift boxes for any occasion. Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
At Baylor University, students find their place to shine. They're faithful friends and inspirational leaders. They're championship teammates and independent thinkers. They're on the cutting edge of high tech and in the halls of history. If you want to make the world a brighter place, you can. And if you want to shine in your own way, you can. The spark you need is already inside you. Bring it to Baylor, where lights shine bright.
Don's Humidor, your home with a 48-foot walk-in humidor with the elite cigar brands from around the world, including the #1 cigar of the year, Aging Room Cuatro Nicaragua. Plus, they have the great brands like Macanudo and Artur Fuente, Rocky Patel, Aston, and so much more. CBD, great for sore muscles, aches and pains, sleep, Vita Dreams, and anxiety, mild depression, general health and wellness. Their staff very knowledgeable on the subject. If anyone is curious about CBD, ask Carol and Ashley. Don's Humidor in the Townwood Shopping Center off Valley Mills in Waco.
Welcome back to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio.
No capes. Do you remember Thunderhead? Tall, storm powers, nice man, good with kids.
Listen. Call us on the Impact Health Labs caller line at 254-339-1122.
China guy, snag on takeoff, splashdown, sucked into a vortex. No kicks.
Here's Drake Toll and Armstrong Sims.
Welcome back into the Petty Clinic Low T Bears Den. Happy Tuesday. Big week in college sports with college baseball rounding out as a couple of these highlights. I posted on the forum yesterday, the SicEm365 forum, talking about scores across the country. You know, TCU lost out in 3 games, which was very fun. You had walk-off grand slam for Tennessee in round 1, down 8-5, bottom of the 9th, bases juiced. Guy hits a walk-off grand slam to win the game 9-8. Wild sauce. Andrew Benefield from Dallas Baptist. They were down 5-0 to Oregon State. It was then 5-2, down by 3. Game in the bottom of the 7th. He goes yak on a grand slam. Tim Elko he is an ACL short. Tim Elko tore his ACL. He's a senior. I'm probably not going to play the majors. Maybe not. Comes out and was like, hey, listen, I don't want my college career to end, because it's torn ACL. And they're like, all right, Tim, you don't have to. But you're going to have to play with a torn ACL. You can't have surgery yet. And you know what Tim said? He said, I'll do it. And then Tim goes out and goes yak yesterday and hits a grand slam in the game that they played, or in a game this weekend, hits a yak against Southeast Missouri. That was the first run that Ole Miss scored in the postseason. Elko had a couple other home runs over the course of the weekend. Really big way. He had a big one against Southern Miss as well. Last night, though, University of Arkansas, it's a team that I've been following a little bit here and there baseball-wise. Got a pretty solid baseball squad this season, #1 in the country. Yesterday, they played Nebraska, down 2-0 late in the game. Game was getting later. Arkansas hit a couple of one-run bombs to tie things up. A one-run bomb tied it by Robert Moore in the 7th. Taking to the 8th, it's 2-2. Bases are juiced for Arkansas. 2 outs. So 2 outs, nobody on. They get the bases loaded on 3 straight walks. Guy throws a wild pitch. Hogs go up 3-2. 1-run lead in the 8th inning. And they bring in a pinch hitter with 2 guys on, trying to find some insurance, needing some runs to try to bolster that lead against Nebraska going into the 9th inning. Charlie Welch comes in to pinch hit, and this is what happened. I freaking love sports, man. Oh my gosh. Hey, Rob, did you see that? Chelsea dagger playing after the home run. That's the dagger on the game.
I was able to watch the clip. It was on my Twitter because someone retweeted it a lot. Seemed I saw it all over my timeline. But yeah, it was an electric clip. It's everything that's right with sports, you know. When you have an atmosphere like that, and obviously Arkansas baseball has such a great fan base, when something like that happens, it's electric. It's fun to watch. And I'm not an Arkansas fan, but I shared some emotion with that huge hit.
Emotion? You cried?
I wouldn't say I cried. I would say tears were almost shed.
Really?
Right. I mean, it's a beautiful moment.
Sports are back.
Sports. Pat McAfee tweeted out, we beat COVID, sports are back.
Yeah, with that clip.
Oh, yeah.
Armstrong, I don't know if this would be this. I'm sorry, I don't want to be. All right, will you play the clip again?
There it goes.
Do want to let you know that we on this show do not condone belligerent drunkenness, but also in that atmosphere.
That is probably at least 30% of the fans.
Chelsea dagger, the train horn, home run. God bless America. Sports are back, baby. Sports are back. I would argue, and I have made this case, as we're about to be joined by Matthew Postins, I have made this case. I think I'm starting to come to terms with the fact that I might like college baseball postseason more than March Madness.
Yes, that's one of the worst takes I think that's ever been spoken into existence, because March Madness is just electric. It's the best. So many teams. I mean, college baseball is the same, but it's not the same. March Madness holds a special place in every sports fan's heart, College World Series is great and all, but we're just watching it because there's nothing else on. March Madness is in the sweet spot. They have their own month. They don't call it June Madness for baseball. It's March Madness.
They could.
They won't.
There's no alliteration. That's why.
Dude, you could get a word.
The June Jubilee?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, that's intimidating. College baseball's June Jubilee this season gonna be a hot one.
I don't think the College World Series will never even hold a candle in comparison to March Madness. It will for certain fans. The overwhelming majority is going to be on March Madness' side.
It's very niche.
It is very niche.
But I think that's what makes it so great. That's why, hockey, there are people that think that the hockey playoffs,
which are the best thing ever, yes,
are exponentially better than the NBA playoffs, the MLB playoffs, the NFL playoffs.
That's just a fact.
There are people that have hockey you know why? It's niche.
I wouldn't say hockey playoffs are niche.
Yeah.
Hockey playoffs are one of the most exciting things. If your team is in it and you follow hockey even a little bit, hockey playoffs are electric.
Hockey playoffs are electric even if you have no stake in it.
So basically what you're saying to that point
NBA,
is if your team is in it, you're following along. Yeah, I would agree.
I actually said the opposite of that.
Yeah, even if your team's not in it, you'll watch the Stanley Cup. The Stanley Cup is electric.
Really?
I'm saying electric a lot because it's very electric.
I don't watch.
Extremely electric.
I gotta say, I don't watch the Stanley Cup.
Non-stop act. Have you ever been to a hockey game?
That doesn't shock me at all.
No, I've never been to an NHL game.
That doesn't shock me at all.
I would choose going to an NHL game rather than any other major sport.
Really?
Absolutely.
Major
NHL,
league sport?
Not college.
Absolutely.
Hockey is just nonstop action the entire time you're there.
There's
question. Fighting. The penalties actually mean something. The NBA is horrible to me because there's a call on the court every 5 seconds, and they're just banana calls. They have no weight. In the NHL, if you commit a foul, you have to go sit in a designated spot for 2 minutes, and the other team gets an actual advantage.
Yeah, it gets a one-man advantage.
Wow.
You didn't know that?
I didn't know that.
You didn't know there was
You didn't know that. You didn't know the penalty box
existed. I knew the penalty
existed.
box existed, but I didn't know that the other team could play.
It's 5v4.
Really?
It's not like
there's 5 guys.
There's
5 guys plus a goalie.
5 is usually plus a goalie.
Gotcha.
So they send you in the penalty box, and you can't replace that guy.
No.
Wow.
He's just out.
You didn't know that?
No, I didn't know that.
I cannot believe that.
I didn't know that it wasn't even.
I think you would learn a lot if
I knew that when I was 3 years old.
To an NHL game.
You were a bright 3-year-old Armstrong.
I think that's just like average. I feel like everyone knows that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I'm not a big hockey guy. No one in Arkansas follows hockey at all.
That is not
no one where I
surprising,
grew up. My upbringing had no hockey in it. Whereas there's an NHL team right down the road.
I think you would gain a lot from just attending an NHL game. It's electric.
We almost went to a Predators game in the Stanley Cup when they played.
That would have been.
I'm not a hockey guy is not a sufficient excuse for not knowing about the penalty box.
Yeah, penalty box seems like a gap in your knowledge.
Okay.
Yeah, a pretty big gap.
I'm not a Premier League guy.
Neither am I.
I knew that would get Jack. I knew Jack. What? Premier League? Yeah, I don't know.
I know. I'm not a soccer guy at all, but I know what like a yellow card and red card are.
Yeah, but
that's like you not knowing that.
But that's also, but not necessarily because but soccer,
Exactly like
World
that.
Cup, soccer's the biggest sport in the world.
That's how.
Hockey's probably up
Okay.
there.
So
hockey's not top 3. Hockey's not soccer.
Okay, in the United
baseball,
States,
but hockey's global.
Basketball, football.
Hockey's in the Olympics. Hockey's in the Olympics.
Hockey's in,
Oh yeah.
yeah,
hockey.
Olympics.
What?
Of course
Oh
it
my
is.
gosh.
USA,
I was
Canada.
thinking summer. Yeah, I didn't say it wasn't. I hesitated for a half second.
Oh my gosh.
I hesitated for a half second. Hockey, what year? What year was it the USA beat Russia?
It was in the 80s.
1980.
Nope, 84.
Sure? I said in the 80s.
Yeah, again. What was the movie name?
Miracle.
Does that matter?
Yeah, it does. I know
Mighty
more
Ducks.
hockey than you do.
You don't know more hockey.
You
than
did not know what the penalty.
You did not know about the
1984. We just
penalty
proved
box.
it.
How long is a penalty in the NHL?
2 minutes.
Or 4 minutes or 5 minutes.
What?
Yeah.
Seriously? They vary by
By severity, yeah. There's majors.
The Miracle on Ice was an ice hockey game during the 1980 Winter Olympics.
Oh,
that does not bode well for the home team.
No, it does not.
Not bode well for
I
the
thought
home
it was
team.
1982.
Kind of schooled you.
You thought it was 1982?
1980 as well.
Oh.
Someone just got
owned by professional sports knowledge. Hey, Rob, maybe this is a good time to play your little game that you wanted to do, asking me sports facts that should be obvious.
Well, I mean,
there's one.
It seems like I could just keep asking NHL questions and you just keep striking out.
I would definitely strike out.
I mean, I
can't know everything about every sport.
Well, but these are very like cornerstone ideals to these sports. Anyway, how about who is the great one?
Alex Ovechkin.
No, it's Wayne Gretzky. Ever heard of him?
No.
You've never heard of Wayne Gretzky?
Yeah, I have. He's that one guy that said that one thing that you'll miss 100% of the shots you never take. Ask me who Wayne Gretzky played for.
Who did Wayne Gretzky play for?
He
played for a lot of teams, to be fair.
The
but
Canadians.
Nah, it's the Oilers.
Really?
Yeah, but you could have really guessed most teams. Nah,
Houston?
He's an Oiler. Houston.
Where are the Oilers located?
Edmonton. You know, here's a question: How many NHL teams are in Canada?
7.
That's actually correct.
Yeah, I think you've said that to me before. Actually, on this show. That's the only reason I got that. Yeah, not a big hockey guy. Is that not permissible to have a college sports show and not know a lot about hockey?
That's fine.
Yeah, you sure?
Armstrong and I are on the same page here. We just thought it was easy knowledge.
Jack, what do you know about hockey? You know a lot of hockey stuff? A decent amount. Yeah, he knows a decent amount. You know who the great one was? Yeah, that's tough. Marquise? Gosh, dang it. See, I put all my eggs in the college sports basket. I tweeted this out last week. I would much rather watch college anything than I would anything professional.
And to be fair, you know significantly more about college than I do college softball, college tennis, college equestrian. You know more than probably 99.9% of Americans.
I'm a big college equestrian guy. I do know a lot about college tennis, too.
Yeah?
Who are the 2 teams that won the most college tennis national championships?
UCLA.
Nope.
I always guess them.
USC and Georgia.
I was pretty close.
Yeah, not bad. USC and UCLA are pretty close, honestly. I should have given you the point.
At least half.
You got one of the letters right.
Yeah. Out of 3?
Boom.
That's 33%.
So elsewhere, recapping today, had old Andy Thomas, who's an All-American, by the way, who joined the show. Was that yesterday? Was that last Friday? When did Andy Thomas come on? That was last Friday. He's an All-American. Nikki Collin makes another hire, going to Marquette, pulling from the Marquette pool. Track and field, competing in the national championships in Eugene, Oregon over the course of the end of this week. So that starts actually tomorrow. Akira Nugent highlights that. Howard Fields, Camden Jackson, or Trey Fields, Aaliyah Miller, Alex Madlock, Tuesday Tidwell, a couple of those names to watch out for. 4x400 meters, those competing on the men's and women's side as well. in recruiting. Baylor's had that camp this past weekend. You've got baseball going on. We've now locked in the final 16 teams in the nation. We're to the Sweet 16, highlighted by Texas and Texas Tech from the Big 12. Texas Tech has Stanford starting this weekend in Lubbock, and Texas has South Florida starting this weekend in Austin. In those super regionals with a chance to make it to Omaha. Out of Virginia, either Virginia or DBU will be in Omaha, one of those two teams, which is wild to me. LSU might be in Omaha. It looks like NC State. It'd be crazy, but they could be there. Stanford, South Florida. There are a couple teams in here that are just it just would be weird to see them make it all the way in college baseball. They might, because it's that big of a beast. College softball, the Women's College World Series. Odyssey Alexander and James Madison knocked out, gone home to Oklahoma. OU now marching on. They're going to the NCAA championship. That starts tonight against the Florida State Lady Seminoles. So still a lot going on in sports. June coverage doesn't slow down quite yet, but when we come back, we've got celebrity birthdays this day in sports history. Sadly, Matthew Postins wasn't able to join us today, but I'm Drake Toll. We've got Armstrong Sims, Andrew Robertson, Jack McKenzie, and Marquise Cooley. When we come back, it's celebrity birthdays and this day in sports history. Don't go anywhere. This is Up Tempo.
She has done it again. Nikki Cohen landed another all-star assistant by bringing Marquette's Tony Green on staff. Green has 27 years of experience in the collegiate game, with time spent at Langston University, Grambling State, Texas Southern, Toledo, and Ole Miss. Green's teams have reached the postseason 12 times, and he has coached over 30 all-conference selections, 6 All-Americans, and 5 Conference Players of the Year. He also brought in the #1 recruiting class in the SEC while at Ole Miss. Green comes along with his wife and niece and their 5 kids. On the diamond, Andy Thomas is getting the recognition he deserves. The Baylor catcher was named a finalist for the 2021 Buster Posey National Collegiate Catcher of the Year on Monday. Thomas is one of just 3 catchers in the nation to make the list. The final vote among the national committee will take place in 2 weeks during the College World Series. Each of the finalists will be brought to Wichita, Kansas for a banquet to announce the award's winner on July 1st. In tennis, a resounding 4 Bears have been given All-American honors by way of singles players Adrian Boitan and Matias Soto, while the doubles pairing of Konstantin Franzen and Sven Law have also been honored. Between singles and doubles, this is the 42nd combined time Baylor has an All-American on the squad. And Gonzaga Athletic Director Mike Roth said Monday that he will retire after 24 years at the university. Roth has spent a total of 34 years as a Bulldog and helped guide the athletic program to 73 postseason appearances. It's a shame he couldn't go out with a title. And in up-tempo news, we will be off the air tomorrow, filming for the men's basketball documentary. And Alabama has extended Nick Saban through 2028. I'm Armstrong Sims, and that's all the news that is news in college sports. It's been Armstrong's Minute on SicEm365 Radio's Up-Tempo.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible challenge. Hi, this is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like First Free Checking, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
At Marco's Pizza, get craveable pizza made the Italian way with dough made from scratch, an original sauce recipe, 3 fresh signature cheeses, and premium toppings you love, served hot and safe. Right now, you can get unlimited medium one-topping pizzas for just $6.99 each. Why stop at just one? Order with your app or at marcos.com for curbside, carryout, or delivery today. Marco's, pizza lovers get it.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries. Celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas, our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Come see us at the new Baylor Scott and White Ted and Sue Getterman Sports and Orthopedic Center. Trust the doctors at Baylor Trust, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
How did Edward Jones become one of the biggest financial service companies in the world? By not acting that way. Financial strategies, one-on-one advice, it's a big difference. And that's why Brad Wilson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, makes sense of investing. Experience the difference for yourself. Brad Wilson, 250 Sharon Drive in Woodway, 254-776-4337. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
You want to know why Stonewood Dental is so successful? Listen to what happy customers have to say.
Pleasant. It's different than any other dentist office. I really feel like they care. And it's not that you're here for 2 hours waiting on someone to take care of you. It's quick and easy, and I bring my kids, and my kids love being here too. They really love the treasure box. Staff is really nice and accommodating, real friendly. You feel more like home. It's not sterile looking. Everybody has their own personalized rooms with decorations and decor, and they'll even have a blanket for you when it's cold. I've recommended people to actually come here, and they are patients now. I really love it here. It feels like family.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
Welcome back to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I've ever heard. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
Now back to the Bears Den with Drake Toll for a Baylor take on your lunch break.
Welcome back to the Penny Clinic Low T Bears Den. Happy Tuesday. Celebrity birthdays today, and this day in sports history. There are some celebrities who were born today. Highlights across college athletics. How about TCU going home? Tech moves on. Texas moves on. Baylor's Andy Thomas, A.T., Buster Posey, semifinalists. I'm remiss that I have not mentioned, we're big tennis fans around here. ITA All-American teams announced. It's Adrian Boitan in singles for Baylor and Matias Soto in singles for Baylor, both All-Americans for the first time in their career. Doubles pairing of Konstantin Franzen and Sven Law. They are All-Americans. Now two-time honoree Sven Law, who is coming back next season in doubles. How about this? Celebrity birthdays. Kanye West, folks. How old is Kanye West?
That's a big celebrity birthday. I don't know.
40.
That's what I'm thinking too.
8.
Ooh, I was thinking like 44. Is it really?
44 years old today. Hayes Greer, Instagram star Hayes Greer. 22.
He's an Instagram star. 19.
Okay.
No.
Oh, so close, Armstrong. 21. He can drink today.
Mine is elsewhere.
Hey, this is celebrity birthdays. We gotta cherish this. Joan Rivers. Dead.
Oh, I'm gonna say 70.
No.
Wasn't this on earlier?
No, this is just a birthday.
I thought you said her name earlier. For dead or alive.
Maybe, probably did, but she's dead.
77.
Okay.
Drum roll, please.
I have 70. I already said 70.
88 today. Yeah, she died. She died in 2014. It's been a long time since she died. She'd been gone for a while. I didn't realize that. Barbara Bush.
Oh.
Wife of H.W.
Oh, wife of H.W. That's going to change my guess.
90.
Okay. Dead.
Oh, dead?
Well, yeah.
2.
92? Is that what you're going to say?
96. Really?
She's 96. A-Rob in this game.
I'm hot.
Too good. The rapper, okay, rapid fire here, rapid fire. The rapper Lil Mouse.
26.
30.
Oh, Lil Mouse 22 today. Happy birthday, Lil Mouse. Nancy Sinatra, the country singer.
Not
80.
77.
81 today. Jerry Stiller, dead, would have been how old?
102.
He died this year.
90.
102.
Last year. 90, 102. 74. Jerry Stiller would have been 94 years old. And Ashley Biden, one can only assume she's the daughter of Joe Biden.
Oh, great.
Am I right in saying that?
I have no idea.
I have no idea.
I'm apolitical. So how would I know this?
48.
Yeah,
48?
49.
40 years old today for old Ashley Biden. She is listed as a family member. So
there you go.
Today, this is super easy. Armstrong, you'll get this one because this is your wheelhouse. First UK municipal swimming pool outside of London opens in Liverpool.
Yes, 1883.
Oh, so close.
1873.
I love the 1864 guess. Oh, yo, jolly old bloke. The Americans are in a war. What do you say we open a little swimming pool up by Liverpool? Yeah, right in the middle of the Civil War. 1829. Gosh.
Yikes. Wow.
I know. Really? I know. Jack's impressed with my English accent. Thanks, Jack. Not a big fan. Gosh dang. Reds' Ed Roush falls asleep in center field during long infield argument. Heine Groh goes to wake him up, but umpire ejects Roush for delay of game. In what year? Everybody's seen this video.
Obviously.
So viral.
1970.
2003?
No way.
This was 2003.
2015.
An MLB player fell asleep in the outfield, and you thought it was 2015.
Yes.
And then his buddy, Heine Groh.
Yeah.
Heine Groh, a 2015 Major League Baseball player. Close. 1920. Test cricket debut of famous West Indian twins Alf Valentine and Sonny Ramadan in first test versus England at Manchester.
1941.
Okay.
1949.
Okay. 1950. You guys are just kind of dancing around it right there. White Sox draft Danny Goodwin, but he refuses to sign. In what year?
2020.
Yeah. Nope.
19.
Yep.
60. 3.
71.
I thought you said about the 60.
French Open women's tennis. Australian Ashley Barty beats Czech teenager Marketa Vandrousova to win her first Grand Slam singles title.
Hey, this is Bryce Petty.
Close.
Later, guys.
2021.
That did catch me off guard 2 days in a row. One day, 20 seconds early. The next day, it's Bryce Petty. Oh, man. Hey, I'm Drake Toll. That's been Armstrong Sims. That's been Andrew Robertson, Marquise Cooley, and Jack McKenzie. We'll be gone tomorrow due to some construction or something other going on in the studio about a documentary. We'll be back soon enough. I'm Drake Toll. The rest of the studio, join us for Up Tempo.